What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Monday. Well, it's Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. I forgot my mic was like way up there. I don't know if y'all could hear me. What's everyone up to? It's Monday. Unfortunately, that means many of us had to go back to work. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if y'all have noticed here. I did some changes to the case over here. There's now Motoko Kusanage inside of there. I did try to like fit all the different characters in, but she was the only one that could fit in between the GPU and the Neon. I was hoping to do a little bit more, but maybe when I get the Naruto one, I can fit that in, because it's like him sitting down going Sage mode. I have a GMRS license. Do I need a special radio, or can I use my LilyGo T Plus? No. LilyGo T Plus is a ISM band. So it operates, if you're in the US, 902 to 928 megahertz. And in the EU, their equivalent is, I forget the specific range because I don't really play with it that much over in Europe, but it's centered around 868 megahertz. You will have to get a different radio, but you can use the same radio I use for ham radio. So I actually have picked up a new radio. That'll be here soon. You can go with, a lot of people say, oh yeah, you can get a Baofeng or anything like that. I've honestly really liked TID radio for my, inexpensive radio needs. They just released a new radio that will be, hopefully, my replacement, which is the TD H9. But the H8 and H3, perfect GMRS radios too. And here's a trick. Buy the unlocked version, because then you can do ham and GMRS with it. If you buy the GMRS or ham version, you can always unlock it later. There's just a key combo, and that's all the difference is. There's nothing physically different about it. It's a logical difference. So you will need one, but these are inexpensive. They're about 30 to 50 bucks. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Hey, Ray Reese, how's it going? Bengali, how you doing? Discord alternatives, it's called Matrix. I have a Matrix server also, link in bio. Matrix is a decentralized open source alternative that is federated, so you can actually run your own Matrix server and go to other Matrix servers from that Matrix server. I'll actually show you it here, because this is my server. Now, of course, it's much, much smaller in terms of the amount of people that we have than my Discord. My Discord is like over 1,000 people. My Matrix, I think, we're coming up about close to 100, but if we count my bots, probably close to like 90. This is Element. This is a front end for it. You can get multiple different front ends for it, but this is running on my own server that I pay for. Like, you can migrate this to your own hardware. You can host it at your house. You can technically run it on a Raspberry Pi if you want. I wouldn't really recommend it because it's going to need a little bit more power for that. What's the Matrix server? Matrix is just another decentralized communication system. Matrix on this stream. But yeah, you can just chat over here. People have brought memes and stuff. We got the gaming room over here. And there's plenty of different ones out there. Like, this is Louis Rossman's Rossman Repair Group. See? This is their Matrix server. And they got 2.7 thousand people in here. So, yeah, you can totally have a Discord alternative with this. Of course, the General is probably the most popular one. But, of course, smaller. Does Matrix have VC? Technically, yes, but we haven't really enabled it. I have to, like, do some enhancements and stuff. There's still improvements for it, but, yeah. Never used Matrix. How is it? Depends on the hardware running the server. But yeah, so glad my Matrix chats actually came through. Wasn't sure my config worked. Oh yeah, we can see your stuff. But that's the cool thing. Once it works, you can start chatting with everyone. And the other cool thing about this, I'm not going to pop this open on stream, you can have encrypted chat rooms that are hosted on a server. And then you have to verify each other. And then you could even have end-to-end encrypted chats with another person. That's something Discord doesn't do. That's something Telegram doesn't really do, to the point. Enhancements as in security. It's definitely more of a security and privacy enhancement, because you can own your own server potentially. Now, a lot of people will host at matrix.org. So, for example, I'm going to use Nero over here as an example. You can see Nero is hosted at matrix.org. So they're running off the official matrix.org, the home server for a lot of people. But then you go over to, I don't know if it'll let me. Hold on. You go to me. Oh, it just lets me select me. But if you look at, like, hreflex, he's at Yipping Zone. But I'm at chiefgeek3d.com. So, yeah. So that's the great thing about Matrix. Downloading Matrix tonight because I'm in school. So the thing is, Matrix is a protocol. There's various front ends for it. So the program I'm using for this and on my phone is called Element, which is the most popular one. There's various other front ends you can use, but Element is by far the most popular. We talking encrypted COM, ever mess with Meshtastic? Yeah. This is one of my Meshtastic devices here. It's not my main Meshtastic. I have a LilyGo T Plus that I carry around that has an external antenna. I have a Meshtastic node outside that gets about 20 miles of range. There's a solar node outside that's repeating for the whole area. So yeah, I'm into Meshtastic. I also have a general general license in ham radio. So I've gotten into that. I haven't really done much ham radio lately because there's so many other projects, but my ham shack is right over there. Is that app new? No, Matrix has been around for a while. It's been around for a few years. In fact, several governments in Europe are starting to migrate official comms to it. Like, they're having official government discussions. There's even some foreign militaries that are using it. And then the other cool thing is, because you can federate to each other, you can actually have secure communications on infrastructure that you have yourself. All right, let me catch up with the chat. Do you, have to verify each message, though? No, you don't have to verify each message. You just verify individual people when you want to do a secure chat. You don't have to verify, but you do. Is it better than XMPP? It is. And you can also bridge Matrix with a lot of things. So let me show you Matrix bridges. So you can bridge Matrix into all of these platforms here. So you can even bridge it into XMPP. So you got Discord, Slack, Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook Messenger, iMessage, Mattermost, Google Chat, Mumble, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Skype, SMS, email, IRC. Apparently there's no ActivityPub bridge. GroupMe, Kakao Talk, no Nextcloud Talk. They're probably working on it. No bridge to Talks, Line, WeChat, Tencent, QQ, Zulip, and Stoat, and XMPP we talked about. There's a few different Matrix services out there. One of the services I eventually want to play with, somebody in the community shared this with me. I need to set it up. I'm going to have the Discord and the Matrix server that I have bridge to each other. So the idea is both communities could potentially talk to each other without having to be on both platforms. You just message one place, you get all the messages there. But I have to figure that out. So So it's just becoming more mainstream now? Yeah, it's been more mainstream for quite a while. I've been talking about Matrix for several years. You look familiar. You attend DEF CON or Black Hat? You tell me. Wait. You tell me. I got this from some of my friends that were in DEF CON Switzerland. But yeah, I've been to DEF CON. Let me see, catching up. A lot of chat. Is this GNOME? Yeah, I have GNOME for my interface right now until I move over to Pop! OS 2604 when it comes out. Granted, end-to-end encrypted rooms can't interface with moderation bots like the Discord bridge bot. Yeah, true. That's why it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to be working on a Matrix bot and a Discord bot that is going to be using AI on my local LLM to do moderation. But I'm going to make sure there's a human in the loop, because if the moderator does any actions, I want my moderators to have the final say. So, like, for example, if someone is found to be part of a bannable offense, a human must pull that lever. Not that we've really had to do that, but I want that mechanism to be there. That moderation bot, I plan to also have tie into Twitch and Kick, and if I have the ability, YouTube, but I have to figure out how to work with the API limits that they have. How do you implement the Matrix protocol and run the server? Just look up the docs, my dude. There you go. Documentation. Just creating all of that. But then you can also, there should be documentation around here somewhere to set it up. Oh, here we are. I'll have to figure out where they move the documentation around. But it's definitely around here. Okay, home server. But yeah, as you can see, it's a federated system. Just read through the documentation. It should do a lot of that, but, oh, there we go. The GitHub probably has it. It's been a while since I set it up, okay? Now I just update the thing. You can use Start 9 OS for Matrix 2. You can, but last I checked, Start 9 only does it over Tor. And I'm not bad-mouthing Tor by any means. I am saying, though, that it's a whole other world when you're using Matrix servers over Tor. One of my friends made a Discord to Telegram bridge. Why? Telegram sucks! Like, seriously. I don't understand why it's so popular. Everyone's like, oh, it's a great app to be secure. It's not secure. It's private. If you have any chat with more than one person, you can't even have end-to-end encryption. And you have to optionally enable encryption for those end-to-end communications. Is there a way to obfuscate clients? I haven't really looked into that. Probably. Shave stopped spamming Matrix because of Twitter. Wait, what? I'm not spamming. I moved all my spam to the other channel, see? I have a whole channel just for my content alerts, okay? Let's see. Sounds like Kubernetes, or is it on your machine only? I mean, Kubernetes is completely irrelevant to this. You can host a Matrix on Kubernetes, but this is not hosted on my machine. The application I use to interface with it is. It's a server on the internet that I have hosted that everyone can then federate into. you do any ham radio transmissions? Yeah, I talked about that a little earlier. I have a general ham radio license, so I haven't done it too much, but I do have HF and VHF UHF set up in the lab over there with my Yaesu FT991A transceiver. So I do get on there once in a while. I'm a beginner in cyber tech. I know some stuff about Linux bash scripting. What should I learn? Start with networking before you really get into anything else. Networking is the core of everything you'll be doing in IT and cybersecurity. And if you don't understand that, you're going to run into a lot of problems. Doesn't matter what field you're in tech, cybersecurity, coding, developing, you name it. You're going to need to know networking. And I don't know how senior you are in your career, but that reminds me. Someone said I have no IT work experience but pass RHCSA. Any chance of getting a job? Well, this kind of plays into that. If you don't have any experience having a job, you're going to have to get experience in a job. And you're going to have to set your bar really low, to be honest. You're going to have to, pay your dues, or as I sometimes say, do the bitch work. You're going to be doing help desk, maybe managed service provider for a few years. Get the ropes, learn the ropes, get the basics and the foundation set up. You're going to learn a lot of things as you go in the field. Because this is what I tell people all the time. Okay, it's great, you're in a classroom. But I'm going to tell you, what you learn in the class and what you actually do in the field may be completely different. And I know that firsthand because I'm going through WGU to grab my bachelor's. And there's a lot of the things that I've gone through where the book is telling you one answer. But reality in the field, it may be a totally different one. Because of the priorities of the business or whatever infrastructure you're dealing with. There's been a few problems where I was laughing because I already have my CISSP. And I now just got my CompTIA A+ as part of WGU. You have to get it. I was jokingly telling everyone, like, yay, after 15 years in IT and cybersecurity, I'm qualified for help desk. But the point being there is, there's a lot of things that I saw in the CompTIA A+ that I would not agree with. Because they'll tell you one thing, but you're going to know in the real world it's another thing. You have to learn what the book says, but the book isn't always going to be right for every situation and scenario. Nice, I haven't been in a while since Hackasat. Hackasat was pretty fun. I haven't been there since August. I'm hoping to go back this year. I already got my hotel booked, but we'll see. Hey, my man, the Big Brother on GitHub is going good. Check the update. Which Big Brother? Sorry, I'm doing so many different things. I have a ThinkPad I use specifically dedicated to Hack the Box and random labs I can think of, but I'll always virtualize those. Does it matter what I use as the host OS? I don't really have a preference for distros, to be honest. Technically speaking, for Hack the Box shit, it doesn't matter what host you use. It doesn't. I would say it matters more about the hypervisor. If you're on Linux, KVM, QEMU, using libvirt, that's the way to go. If you're on Windows, get a pro version of Windows, get Hyper-V, learn to use that, do that. The reason why, and people are like, well, what's wrong with VirtualBox? VirtualBox is a Type 2 hypervisor. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's slow and clunky versus a Type 1, because Type 1 will interface directly with hardware. And any computer in the past 15 years has virtualization extensions. In Intel, they're called VTD and VTX. In AMD, I think it's SRI or something like that. Anyway, as long as those are enabled, you can use a Type 1 hypervisor. As far as the host OS, just use one that you're happy with. I use Pop! OS for my stuff. You know, I need to rebuild a lot of my VMs, but you can see this is how I do mine. Virtual Machine Manager with libvirt. I thought the internet tech was incredible, but I'm disillusioned by the way it's actually used. Wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about, Pete. My other laptop, which I use my other laptop, which I use as a laptop now, I'm pretty sure if you got a laptop, you're going to use it as a laptop. Now runs Linux and ran Linux when I was using it as my main, which I use as a server. Okay. That was confusing. My brain broke for a second there, bud. I feel like Session is more secure than Matrix since there's less of a footprint when creating an account. The problem with Session is there's not a lot of people using it, and with the difference with Session is that you still have to trust another infrastructure, from my understanding, whereas Matrix, you don't. You could run your own infrastructure. You don't necessarily have to have as much footprint. You just got to have a domain at most, and then point it, and then start federating. That's it. You can get a completely throwaway domain. I did open source work to start my experience. Nice. What's up, Joy? I'm currently learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript after. Should I finish Python or start Java? Python. I like Python way more. The only good Java is the kind I make in my coffee maker. If it were up to me, Java would die in a flame. I know that it has its uses, but I just hate Java. Business usually overrides all technical decisions. My school does Cisco and VMware. Ew. My lab uses random parts I can find on the used market. Fair enough. But VMware is like so played out now that Broadcom bought them out and just kind of like made them sail up the river Styx. What is your opinion on Windows? I mean, they break easily when you throw, apples at them. You know, if a penguin throws an apple at it, I mean, it's just gonna break. Windows is just, I think, a really bloated, slow, insecure mess that hasn't really... It's lost its way since, I would say, Windows XP kind of found its way back in Windows 7 and then completely lost the plot in Windows 11. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of Windows for many reasons. Do I use it at work? Yes, because I have to. But I game on Linux. I use Linux. The only Windows PC I have is the little stream box over here. For a few pieces of hardware, I haven't moved over to Linux yet because I haven't spent the time. And the laptop I use for WGU, because that requires a basically a rootkit of a web browser for Proctor software. I have a question. So I just got a Nighthawk RS70 and my ping, I don't know what you're saying there, poor Gentes Dave. There's a... And my ping. I don't know. Put a project I'm working on in hashtag tech in the server. Could you tell what let's see. I presume you're talking about in the Discord. This? Okay, that font is really effing with me. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, so pipe your path here, GIF, max range here. Implementation of a local layer and all. So what is this for? terms of bad traditions. AWS recognition. Looks like it's for something for images. I'm maybe had a write-up on what it is. Oh, I'm like, skips right over here. Okay. Pi frame. GIF and image moderation using AWS recognition or local Hugging Face models. Nice. Oh, nice. So, okay. Pretty simple. And then we got the lib in there. So you got your error handler split out. Frame processor. Merge images to grid. Okay. And then you got your setup over here. Okay, so just grabbing from the folders there. This looks interesting. I feel like you're missing a couple of extensions for the video. I can't remember which, but I feel like you could do a little bit more than that. I could be mistaken. AWS. I like how you have this all modularized, because I've come across a lot of projects where it's just like one homogeneous blob of everything. Yeah, this is nice. I'll definitely have to follow that. But yeah, splits GIFs into equal time windows and picks the frame with the highest motion delta from each one. Scene coverage and catch. Okay. Cuts cost by about 90. I'll have to share that with Yitz. Oh, so it's using AWS CLI. I have a feeling this is for Mac. This command over here. I may have to play with that later. That's interesting. Yeah, looks nice. I'll have to play with it. Let me see. Put a project I'm working. Okay, that for gaming. Does Fortnite or Easy Anti-Cheat work on Linux? Easy Anti-Cheat can work on Linux. That's a developer issue. Fortnite doesn't. But my argument would be there's tens of thousands of other games, and it's a developer issue. It's not a Linux issue. People always get it wrong. Like Linux has a limitation with no. It's purely on the developer. They're choosing not to support it. Case in point, Apex Legends used to work on Linux. Then EA decided we're not going to support Linux anymore. But Apex Legends is completely capable. World of Warcraft has been playing on Linux for many years. I was playing a Halo Master Chief Collection, which famously has anti-cheat built in. It's my favorite coding language, or what do you think beginners should start with? I do a lot of my stuff in Python. But yeah, I use Python for a lot of my stuff, primarily because I do more just, I have to put things together. So if you go through my GitHub, it's almost all Bash or Python. Those are the two things I primarily work in. I'd say if you're going to learn any language, it'd be Python. Python's probably one of the easiest ones, in my opinion, to start wrapping your head around and be able to do some really interesting things. Now, of course, there's compiled languages like Go and such that you'll get a lot faster because they're compiled languages, whereas Python is interpreted. But for most things, Python's, where I go. What's a hypervisor versus, let's say, Proxmox? Proxmox is a hypervisor. It's type 1. Proxmox is just a hypervisor. That's all it is. It's something to run your virtual machines on. That's as simple as you can really put it. Is Java that bad? It seems quite easy to learn. Yeah, Java is horrible. Like, Java has been the bane of my existence for many years. It's not really that it's easy to learn, it's that it sucks. It had its time, it's had its place, but no. Like Frankenstein, kill it with fire. Let me get the motivation to build my PC. It's been in boxes for months. God damn it. Is my remote not working? Oh. The hell camera? I was like, I know I had that centered at one point, and then I knocked it. Okay. Your motivation is, you better build your fucking PC. It's in boxes. It's a waste of space if it's in boxes. I feel like I'm yelling at myself because I have another computer to build upstairs. But we're focusing on you! Windows is ruining itself with every OS version and update. Oh yeah, definitely. Windows has been horrible for many years. They keep throwing crap in that nobody wants. All they'd have to do, if they wanted to make it a good operating system... Hey Satya, if you're watching this, if you want people to use Windows again, fucking listen to the users and what the hell they're saying, that it sucks. They don't want all this shit. They want it stable. They want it fast. They want it secure. They don't want AI in fucking Notepad. I'm so glad I got this remote a while ago. Had my Windows 11 laptop locked down just for it to bypass my custom lockdown and force update. Yup. Thoughts on Discord's smart move next month? Wait, what's Discord doing? Is there something Discord's doing? I've been busy. I'm working on getting a new job. That should be happening soon. And then I'm working on school and the regular job that I have now. Laptop restart. Let me comment on YouTube about touching grass. Well, which one? I tell people to touch grass all the time. You know, it's better to have it installed, but the only problem is I don't want to switch fully. Ever use Bitvice Ash on Windows? Well, first of all, I'd have to be on Windows enough. I try to avoid using Windows when at all possible. Like, literally, the Stream PC is as close to I touch with Windows most days, other than the laptop I use for WGU, so I can do the exams. And other than that, I use this Windows PC because sometimes there's Word documents that just won't fucking open in LibreOffice. Yeah, that's a thing. Alright, let's catch up with a few more comments and then we'll get into the review on stream stuff. How can I start a VPN on my router but it doesn't support it? Get a proper firewall. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. You gotta build a proper firewall that becomes your router. Like, I use pfSense. That can do it. But here's the trade-off. People do this all the time, where they want to get, like, a VPN service to do that. Honestly, unless you're doing, in business-related, what's called a site-to-site VPN, I don't see the point of a VPN on a firewall. Keep the VPN relegated to the devices there, with the exception of, let's say you're trying to VPN devices that can't run a VPN themselves. like an IoT device, a game console, if you want to go that route. Because it'll cause more headaches than you'll want. And then you're going to have to configure the network so that basically it forces all the traffic to go out the VPN. I keep my VPN to the local machines. I had a VPN on my firewall, that's why I'm speaking from experience. What are some chats that you can join that run through Matrix? Do I need to join Matrix to join as a user? You can join a Matrix server. It doesn't have to be any particular one. You can build your own Matrix server and then federate into other Matrix servers like I did. Like, I have my own Matrix server, matrix.chiefgeek3d.com, and that's federated into Louis Rossman's, for example. I think he's running on his on matrix.org, the main server there. But my point still stands. I'm alright, you with the various letters in your name that I cannot pronounce. Do Python too, but I'm learning JavaScript. You. I don't care for JavaScript either. Yitz works on JavaScript, but I just do Python. I do more of the back-end shit. What do you recommend to start projects after finishing Python bootcamp? Go through GitHub, look up different projects, and just also find random things you can make. For example, if you look at my repositories, you'll find that I have a lot of projects that I've just done for the hell of it so that I can learn things. So some of these are like basic as hell, like offline password generator, a long weekend planner, which I still gotta improve that. This is another project I gotta work into my bots. That was just because I was trying to see if Zscaler blocked the testing link. I can probably delete that repo. That I probably need to, catch back up on that project. Yeah, the investment tools, for example, my support me page, which goes to my works on my cryptocurrency stuff, this index stuff. That was just me fucking around and trying to get my page to be adaptable, so it actually does what is it? Yeah, so that HTML that you saw was this, and I was teaching myself to make it reactive so I can have it do that. So you can see one page, if you open it up on a phone, it'll look one way. If you open it up on a desktop, it'll look another way, but it'll resize automatically. Typo Sniper was a project that I still need to get back into. That's for typo squatting and domain threat intelligence. Pipewire Sync was a program I've used to merge things in. NetPulse is another thing I'm working on that I need to get working on my firewall. It's basically just a speed test that'll feed into Grafana. Patch Gremlin was me trying to figure out automated patching for systems. Just give yourself projects to figure out. Like, if you're into pfSense or want to build a pfSense, this is a great repo for you to go through. It's basically where I'm dumping a lot of my random shit for pfSense. But, like, you can go into, like, the config folder over here and get a good little leg up on starting with pfblocker ng and how to optimize different things. If you want a good DNSBL whitelist, I've been crafting this forever. Like, I just had to add some updates to get New Relic and a few others working. But yeah. Still gotta know data structures and whatnot, but overall it's easier. Yeah. With AI, all coding is a lot simpler, though. Yeah, I use AI for a lot of coding. But as I tell people, don't go vibe coding without vibe checking. So I actually understand what it's trying to do, and then I make unit tests in my stuff. We've been here where I'm coding a lot of things. I've, worked on my bot that uses my local LLM to announce when I'm live on stream, and other tools. And yeah, I've definitely used Claude Opus for a lot of that, but yeah. Discord is doing big things. They also don't want ads in their Outlook box. Are they adding ads in Outlook? F that. Alright, Discord's update. Well, okay, Nero sent me what Discord's doing. Okay, let's see this. Discord launches teen by default settings. What does this mean? Teen by default will globally roll out to all users, enhancing age-appropriate protections. Discord announcing enhanced teen safety features, rolling out globally first into more inclusive experience for users over the age of 13. As part of this update, all new and existing users worldwide will have a teen-appropriate experience by default. Fuck that! With updated communication settings, restricted access to age-gated spaces, and content filtering that preserves the privacy and meaningful connections that define Discord. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. Because here's the problem. Like, I don't know how this is going to impact my Discord server. Because my Discord server is... It's by no means explicitly 18 plus. Do we make jokes on there that might lean that way every now and then? Absolutely. Because we like to have a laugh. But it's a tech Discord, so I can see people that are like, older teens. The ones that are thinking about their hobbies and thinking about getting into the profession, wanting to interact with professionals such as myself. Or a selfie for AI to analyze. Wasn't that the one where kids were scribbling on marker on their face and it was just letting them in? Heard some people use AI in CTF now. Yeah, you can totally do that. Does AI affect cybersecurity in any way? Yeah! There's more cybersecurity now. Because AI is introducing a whole lot of vulnerabilities because developers are dumb and adding things without checking the logic. Like, case in point, the T-app, or that app, Cancel the Hate, that they had for trying to cancel the people that were upset that, the whole Charlie Kirk thing, that whole thing. Those were not breached, they just literally were wide open. They basically were running ass backwards in a cornfield naked. It ain't a fun experience to even visualize, I know. But AI is definitely increasing some of the jobs out there for cybersecurity. It's lowering some others because ultimately, and a lot of executives need to think about this, security is relationship and logically focused. We have to be able to make decisions, and most importantly, be held accountable for those decisions. No auditor, no customer, no investor is gonna buy the answer of, well, the agent said it was okay, when something goes wrong. Ultimately, someone needs to be held accountable. So, yeah. It won't take Jojo. Wait, great, job market is brutal right now. Yeah, the job market is brutal, particularly for those starting out their careers. I will be honest there. It is a bloodbath for anyone trying to go start their career. And that's not just in cybersecurity. That's all fields. People coming out of college and getting in. It is tough. Because right now there's a problem where we're going to have this death spiral, as I'm seeing, that we're not hiring the junior people right now and training them up to be the seniors that they will become in a few years, because right now every company is only really wanting to hire seniors. But then in a few years from now, they're not gonna find any seniors because they didn't train the juniors that then became the seniors. Do you see the problem there? It's very short-sighted thinking. And I consistently tell people, it's cheaper to get a new person in cybersecurity or technology in general and train them than it is to just get a senior. Sure, they may leave once they get those skills if you don't treat them appropriately. Case in point, look at me. I'm getting a new job. But the point being, yeah. Discord requiring Gov ID and video verification. I don't know if they're requiring the government ID. I didn't see that in here. I didn't see that in their press release over here. Now, if there is ID things, I think that's what the UK Online Safety Act may require some things. I'm not entirely sure. I'm turning 15 this November, however. Nice. Getting a code when I was 10. Nice. You're turning 15 in March. Man, I got a lot of young teens in here. There's an Epstein joke in there if I really wanted to go into it. Speaking of Epstein, oh my god, have y'all seen the shit coming out of that documents there? I feel vindicated for saying that I don't like Republicans and Democrats because everybody is just effed. Everybody is just effed and nasty. Have you seen those corn spiders? Imagine running backwards into those things. Alright. Let's get into the review on stream stuff. So let me find out where we were last stream. Alright. Oh god. Oh god. Is this the Reddit mod? It is the Reddit mod. If Jessica is still over there on Twitch, she's gonna be so happy right now. You've come back at the right time. So this guy... Okay, so recap. I'll bring this up. Okay, so first, there was this. Oh yeah, we already talked about that, where the Trump CISA chief uploaded sensitive files into ChatGPT. We already talked about that, I know that. But this, Epstein had his hands deep inside of Call of Duty 2. Yeah, that's why they're called CP points. Like, look at this guy's statistics, like, barely any, like, relevance, and then, like, he goes and gets booted off. So, the long and short of this guy, if you don't know who this is the Reddit mod that got kicked off livestream fails for propagating a scan. It's like $1 Million Fan Club or something like that. And like, he is the epitome of, if I went to Sora and said, generate me the stereotypical depiction of a Reddit mod. He also acts like the depiction of a Reddit mod that is so full of himself and thinks he is way more important than he actually is. Like, he actually said that Reddit mods should be, like, treated like celebrities and stuff. I don't even think that, you know, a lot of people on the internet should be treated as celebrities. Like, if you meet me, don't treat me like a celebrity. You can say hi. You can, you know, chat with me. I'm not gonna bite. But I ain't no Brad Pitt. I ain't no Johnny Depp. Anyway. Let's watch what this guy has. I am expecting to laugh hysterically. I just got to peek at the comments. Some people are asking when I made this video. Well, the answer is because I am terminally online, obsessed with irony, and I wanted to contribute to the discourse surrounding it. He's coping. He's lying. He's bald. I was only pretending, guys. You fell for it, LMAO. 4 layers of hair recession. What the fuck does that even mean? Jesus. And he still has that stupid color glow around him. Like, come on, dude.
That means I try to talk about serious things by going way over the top with it. I say things that have a comedic punchline. I say things that sound like a joke,
the comedic
but when you think
punchline.
deeper about it, have a bit of a kernel of truth to it. I act ridiculous because the truth is ridiculous. And acting ridiculous is...
No, your truth is ridiculous, my dude. You think Reddit mods are like celebrities and like this amazing thing. You are a janitor of the internet. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my mods. I love my mods in my community. You know, they take care of a lot of stuff. They've helped me take care of some, trolls and bots and stuff like that. But they understand that they're just part of the community. You know what I mean? Like, they're not holier than thou. Unlike Reddit mods.
The only way to get you to take
I'm
it
beginning
seriously.
to hate this guy.
A refresher on what just happened, though.
I have a love-hate relationship
I made a viral
with
video,
him.
a video directed to the CEO of Reddit, where I gave you a peek into the insanity that is Reddit moderation and how it affects Reddit, the 3rd largest social media platform in the US. In the video, I came off like...
Is it just me, or does it feel like his comb-over got even worse? Like, the comb-over is even worse than it was in the last video, or am I just seeing things? Well, time to wax Chief's head. I'm shaving my head again soon. But you know what? I still wear my hair, or what little I have, better than he does. So y'all better enjoy it before I take that one trip to Turkey one day, and I come back with a bunch of hair. God knows I got enough hair on my freaking face, or whatever I can do for that. But yeah, he used an AI background. Oh my God, he did!
Who was taking a silly topic like Reddit moderation way too seriously. And I looked crazy because the situation is crazy.
And you are crazy.
I was inspired to make this video by my favorite content creator, JReg. He is also a comedic content creator who created a video about the multiple layers of irony. And since I'm now a viral influencer, this is my attempt to contribute.
Viral influencer. Sure, bud.
Contribute to the irony discourse by describing and defining layers 3 and 4 of irony that add on.
He's talking about this shit like it's the OSI layer. What the hell?
On top to JReg's kind of previous definitions of layers kind of 0 through 2 of irony. Specifically, I'm going to be using these definitions of irony to describe a very online topic known as lolcows that I've become
because you are one.
Intimately familiar with after my big viral moment.
Because you are one!
Well, in my framework, irony is critique, and each layer above the previous layer of irony is a critique of the critique. So what is layer 0 of irony? Well, that's just sincerity.
What the hell are these backgrounds?
That means just having an opinion, having a goal, having a direction, a philosophy, any just act or opinion or situation
this guy is like
that
determined
involves
to be a
agency.
lolcow.
It is not in reference to something else. It is not the opposite of a different position. Instead, it is an opinion or philosophy that stands on its own. Notice that we can even have 2 opposing positions that are on layer 0 because they stand on its own without it being in reference to the other position.
Wait, what?
Some examples might be the Republican or the Democratic Party. They are in...
What the fuck does this have to do with anything? Holy shit. I understand where you're coming from, Vampire. My brain cells are dying over here. It might as well have been like an alcoholic.
some sense opposed to each other, but they still have ideas and philosophies of their own that don't need to be defined as being against the other party. Layer 0 is everywhere. The real world is mostly full of layer 0 sincere beliefs.
Okay, anyone that goes around ironically saying layer 0s around the world needs to go touch grass. When a guy in his basement making a Twitch multi-stream that uses Linux and is in cybersecurity tells you need to touch grass, you should be rethinking your life choices there, bud.
Well, that was easy. So let's get to layer 1 of irony. If layer 0 is defending a belief, layer 1 is attacking it. Layer 1 of irony requires the acknowledgement of the opposing belief and positions itself so as to attack it or tear it down. It is fundamentally destruction, not creation. And in order to destroy, there must already exist.
I honestly don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch this whole thing because, like, I am just sitting here like, what? Derp, 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 derp. Are we sure this guy is real or AI with the voice changer? I'm leaning towards AI with the voice changer. Like I said earlier, I stand by my point. Went to Sora, said make the depiction of a stereotypical Reddit mod with a grudge, and go.
Something that was created to then destroy.
Know any digital artists who use Linux to draw? There's a few out there I've seen, none that come off the top of my head, but I've seen people using Inkscape, GIMP, and a few other tools.
Right. Some examples. Some people say that sarcasm is a layer 1 belief because you're saying the opposite of what
Nobody
you mean.
says
A
that!
little bit different from that in my framework of irony. The best example that I have of a layer 1 position would be the Socratic method, or the person who's constantly asking questions about somebody else's belief and...
Can we throw this guy in a philosophy class just so we can get his ass laughed off at in a Socratic method?
Pointing out flaws without necessarily even having a position of their own. Elitism, credentialism, or gatekeeping is a layer 1 belief because it fundamentally says that there are people out there who are not qualified, are not competent enough to have a position, do an action, have a goal, etc., etc. And that's why...
So you're talking about yourself? Am I understanding that? Or did my brain break on something in the sentence there?
We need these credentials or gatekeeping to make sure that the wrong people are not engaging in certain actions. Layer 1 is exclusionary. And to get to my most important example, I would argue that the internet itself, especially social media in the digital age, is fundamentally full of layer 1.
This dude recorded a 20-minute video on this, edited this, and then hit post. Dude. What?
Beliefs and critiques, which stands in stark contrast to kind of the beliefs that are in kind of the real world. What I mean by this is, I think that social media, especially websites like Reddit, are not really about doing things, and they're more about sharing and critiquing things that other people are doing. It's not about you putting things out into the world, it's about you attacking things that other people do. This layer 1 philosophy.
It's not that they're attacking it, it's that you're the fucking stereotypical Reddit mod that thinks that, you know, you're bigger than you actually are. And we're laughing at you because you literally look like the stereotypical Reddit mod. Oh, God. I'll give this maybe like 1 or 2 more minutes at most, and then I'm moving on. Because I don't know if I can watch this whole thing. I can feel my IQ numbers just dropping.
It resonates through the entire DNA of the internet, both from the very sarcastic and critical humor that is common on websites like Reddit, and even down to the very features that make up these websites, such as, you know, resharing, retweeting, commenting, and kind of features like that that are baked into the very infrastructure of the internet. Websites are built to make you attack, critique, reshare, comment, or retweet. And
no, they're not. Okay, I'm moving on. Chat, I'm moving on. Like, I cannot handle this amount of stupidity here. Okay, anyway. This video came out. Not video, but this happened. The app for quitting adult content leaked users' fun time habits. Hundreds of thousands of users told the app intimate details about their urges, which are now exposed. Ruh-roh. Yeah, I think this one also warrants the... Like, don't get me wrong. I understand if there's some people that have a genuine issue with cranking it. But, yeah. Let me guess it was vibe coded. Probably. I remember reading the article, but I didn't log in. So, not doing that right now. Okay, so we have a new lawsuit that could destroy WhatsApp. What's going on here? So this is from Satanic. Good channel. Okay. Is this about WhatsApp not really being as secure as they said?
This is one hell of a lawsuit. It says that WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption is a total lie, and that the Zuck can quite literally read all of our messages.
No! Say it ain't so! Zuckerberg would never lie. He would never want to have access to your data. And people wonder why Signal's my default. I don't really like WhatsApp. I use it because I'm family, but I don't trust it. Because anything Meta has is more about, give me data, give me data, give me your soul!
Also in your hacking news roundup, why cybercriminals want to crash your browser, and how reusing an email address could cost this guy 10 years in prison.
Wait, what?
But first, on WhatsApp, before you message someone for the first time, you're told messages and calls are end-to-end encrypted. Only people in this chat can read, listen to, or share them.
You said on a throne of lies!
This is a total lie. Well, according to this new lawsuit. It was only filed a couple days ago and says that WhatsApp has been lying to us for years. Whilst they publicly say that privacy and security is in their DNA, behind our backs they store, analyze, and can access virtually all of WhatsApp users' private communications.
That's the problem with any centralized app. Now, Signal at least has audits and, third parties vetting them and stuff like that. They do everything they can to at least showcase that it is a well-intended product. I don't hear the same thing for WhatsApp. And then if you don't really trust even Signal's approach, that's where you have the Matrix approach, where you own your own server, and then you're responsible for your own privacy and security. But ultimately, I've never really trusted Meta. I'll trust Signal, but not Meta. For one, Signal is a non-profit, as far as I remember. WhatsApp is owned by a major for-profit corporation that's sole purpose is to suck your data dry to be able to market things better to you. And I've had experiences with WhatsApp bleeding over to Facebook. So years ago when I used to have a Facebook, I remember I connected with some people on WhatsApp. Didn't connect with them on Facebook. Met them IRL while I was traveling. And I've had friends also tell me this experience too. You'd be chatting with them, and then you go to Facebook, and then Facebook is suddenly recommending you friend that same person. Et tu, Brute? But anyway.
And it's allegedly super easy for Meta employees to gain this level of access. They send a request to a Meta engineer explaining that they need this access for whatever reason. The engineering team will then grant that access, often without much scrutiny.
Oh, God.
Then the employee can use some kind of a tool where they can pull up any WhatsApp user's messages just from knowledge of their user ID. They can then read every message you've ever sent, even ones that you've deleted. As for Meta's senior leadership, they've allegedly tried to keep this all secret by siloing off different teams within the company so that no one person can piece together the full truth, directing them to stay in their own lanes and imposing strict non-disclosure agreements on workers to keep this all hidden. But how does this all work?
How did it get
makes
leaked?
a big deal of the fact that they use the encryption protocol developed by the rival messaging app Signal because it's open source and widely trusted. The lawsuit doesn't allege that this protocol itself is backdoored, but points out that whilst Signal's code is open source, WhatsApp's implementation of it definitely isn't. They don't make their source code available to the public or even to third-party security auditors, and that WhatsApp's "Trust Me Bro" promise is just not true. These are some pretty spicy allegations, but what's the evidence? The document relies heavily on anonymous whistleblowers, but it doesn't tell us who they are. I've read
Well, yeah, they're supposed to be
51
anonymous.
pages of the complaint, but there's no concrete evidence. There's no logs proving WhatsApp can read our messages, or anything even coming close to that.
Okay.
However, you wouldn't expect any hard evidence at this stage. This is just the first filing in the lawsuit.
Fair
It's
enough.
essentially a list of allegations.
It was only a few days ago.
However, I've got to be honest, I am pretty skeptical here. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to call out WhatsApp's failings and Meta being evil, but the idea that WhatsApp
Meta
has
is
this
evil
level of a
incarnate.
backdoor just seems a bit far-fetched. I could well be wrong. There are a lot of reasons to distrust Meta. Half of this document is dedicated to listing out all of them. And if these new claims turn out to be true, it would easily be the biggest Meta betrayal of all time by quite some margin. Meta themselves have responded by saying that the claims are categorically false and absurd, and that the lawsuit is a frivolous work of fiction. But we'll see. The lawsuit is being brought by an international group of plaintiffs. As far as I can
Interesting.
tell, there's no big names in here, nobody notable, though maybe I didn't Google them enough. Whoever they are, they have some pretty expensive lawyers representing them. So grab some popcorn and hit that subscribe button, because whatever ends up happening, it's not going to be boring.
I'm curious to see
If
what
only
happens
learning
with this.
valuable life skills could also not be boring. Well, smart learners don't get bored. That's the philosophy behind boot.dev. Here, learning to code feels less like sitting in a classroom and more like playing a game. And I would know, being one of their paying customers myself. You'll be learning back-end development, but lessons are taught as if you're building a video game. It's strange at first, you're learning new things, but in a familiar way, as if you already know what's going on.
With how often
And just like
WhatsApp
playing a
gets
game,
hacked, I
by
wonder if it's
coding you'll
Meta
earn
funding the
XP,
hack.
level up. There's even
would
boss
not be
battles.
surprised.
There's so many ways to learn to code, but with boot.dev, I can honestly say that I've never gotten bored following one of their lessons. Sure, you will get stuck on occasion, but that's where Boots comes in. He's your personal AI tutor, always on hand to nudge you in the right direction. But boot.dev won't let you get totally hooked on lessons. Very quickly, you'll start building your own projects, helping you make the notoriously tricky transition from completing tutorials to actually taking the initiative to write real code. It's totally free to read and watch all the course content, but when you're ready to get started, you can get 25% off with code Statonic, and better yet, with their 30-day no questions asked refund policy, giving their don't get bored philosophy a try is
This does
totally
seem
risk-free.
interesting. I keep seeing it.
Next
but
up,
yeah.
hackers
Next.
are getting real creative. This new technique involves intentionally crashing your browser, all as part of an elaborate social engineering trick. This
I mean,
all
it's
starts off
Edge,
fairly
so-
vanilla, with the victim searching for an ads blocker and stumbling across NextShield. On the surface, it looks like
What?
any other generic ads blocker, which can be installed as an extension on Edge or Chrome. But behind the scenes, NextShield is pretty much a total clone of uBlock Origin Lite,
So
made possible because their code
Why would somebody just use NextShield? Like, I'm not understanding how someone would come about to do that.
is open source. However, NextShield has some extra hidden undocumented features. As soon as you install it, a 60-minute timer starts in the background. This is so that you don't immediately associate the extension with what's about to happen next. When 60 minutes is up, your browser becomes unresponsive and randomly crashes. So what's going on here? Security researchers show us that NextShield calls a certain function which creates an object and adds it to an array. This isn't malicious, except for the fact it does it a billion times. Before calling the
Jesus!
function all over again. And no matter how much money you've spent on RAM, your browser will eventually crash. But this also crashes NextShield itself. The real fun only happens when you reopen your browser and this legit looking pop-up appears, warning that the crash might have been caused by potential security threats and that you should probably run a scan. And the hackers even put
Oh,
the cherry on the
no.
authenticity cake by asking if you want to send a crash report to Microsoft. If you close this pop-up, a new 10-minute timer starts before your browser is crashed all over again. This keeps on happening until you give in and run that scan. A fake loading bar makes you wait 15 seconds before we're presented with a perfect example of a click fix attack.
Ah!
Security issues detected. You need to manually fix this by pressing
This
some
is
buttons on your
rather
keyboard.
intricate.
But by hitting that shortcut, most people will have no idea that they've just spawned a portal to hell. And by running the command, which has been automatically copied to the clipboard for our convenience, we're willingly downloading malware. The hacker behind this is known as Kong2k. They're focused on infiltrating corporate environments thanks to the potential for million-dollar ransomware
Skidded you,
payouts.
Block Origin.
So after the malware
Pretty
is
much.
downloaded, it'll first check if the victim PC is domain joined. In other words, is it part of a wider corporate
Oh,
network?
God!
If so, then they'll get the VIP treatment. This comes in the form of Modelo Rat, a remote access tool which supports an array of features designed to...
This is why I've been saying the biggest vulnerability is web browsers, and a lot of companies are not paying attention to it, and they're locking down their browsers. You should be using something like, there is, I think, a Firefox Enterprise and a Google Enterprise and Microsoft Edge you can do through group policies, where you can restrict it to only allow to install certain extensions that you approve of. You can go to a lot of these companies that are super secure, and they still will allow you to install extensions. Do corporate employees get basic cybersecurity training? Yeah, but you want to know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Training's bullshit. The training doesn't work. I'm not trying to be like a dick here, but think about the average person. They don't want to do this fucking click, click, click shit. So they sit down, do their compliance training because they have to, not because they want to. They don't really learn anything from it. I've been like of the mindset for a while, phishing training and phishing simulations doesn't really help. You should give users education. Do not get me wrong. But a lot of these cultures punish people instead of teaching them lessons, and then they don't actually gamify the education. That's the problem. Training is purely for HR. Yeah, that's basically it.
Give Kong2k the ability to explore their victim a bit, so they can figure out how best to make some coin.
Jeez.
If the victim PC isn't domain joined, then Kong2k isn't so interested. The command and control server just responds with a test string. There isn't even a payload. Thanks to the researchers, the malicious extension has now been removed from the Chrome Web Store, and this campaign is now over. But something tells me we haven't seen the last of this little social engineering
No,
trick.
we're going to see more like that.
Next up, a prolific cybercriminal could be spending the next 10 years in federal prison thanks to a series of super stupid OPSEC mistakes.
Oh, God.
In the cybercriminal underworld, he was known as...
What did he say?
To a series
Admits selling unauthorized access to computer networks of 50 companies.
of super stupid OPSEC mistakes. In the cybercriminal underworld, he was known as Riz.
Can't pass
Well,
a training video exam despite being in IT because I could care less about the overly specific phishing differences. Yeah, it doesn't matter what they, like, because the honest truth is, you should be able to do simulations, yes, but you shouldn't be use it to penalize them. You should use it to use as education lessons, because we've had social engineering of our own call center and had to walk people through, you know, like, hey, you do not do this. You know, like a lot of things that they just common sense, but yeah.
known on cybercrime forums for selling cracked versions of red teaming tools and malware that could bypass EDR platforms like CrowdStrike, Riz had earned a pretty good reputation. He was even mentioned by name in several threat intelligence reports, but this is when the FBI took an interest in Riz, putting undercover agents on the case. They DM'd him, asking about his malware.
Could corporate employees switch to Linux to help prevent those extensions? For as long as they're running on Windows, primarily, yes, but that's a band-aid. The real solution is to secure the browser. So, when I talk about there's Google Enterprise and all that, a lot of people don't know this. I mean, Chrome Enterprise. There's Google Chrome that you can install on, you know, your computer, and then there's Google Chrome Enterprise, which is totally different because you can actually control group policies around it to secure it the way you want. The other thing you can do, I mean, Firefox has their own version. There's tools like this. Seraphic Security. This is one that I actually became really a fan of. I saw this at GurCon. CrowdStrike just bought them out. It's called Seraphic. So basically, this is an extension that turns any browser into a secure browser and offers a whole bunch of different features inside of there. Yeah, like, you know, you can actually see what people are clicking, secure things, stop it from doing a lot of the things it's supposed to do, sandboxing it. It's really useful. The closest thing to this is the Island browser, which is ridiculously expensive. This, as I recall, I think was like $50 per user per year. But, like, I think a minimum spend of $10K. So it's definitely an enterprise tool. But, yeah. Marriott uses Island. It's pretty nice. It actually sucks. I used to set up Island all the time. The problem with Island is you have to use the Island browser. Whereas this Seraphic one, you can actually have it work on any browser. You just plug it in, and then, yeah. And actually, some of the team from Island made this. If I have to install an extension, I have a VM to test them out. Fair enough. But yeah. Anyway. Back to the topic at hand.
That could disable EDR, agreeing on a price of $15,000 per exploit.
Jeez,
the Feds spun up a server so that Riz could prove that his malware actually worked, but of course they were monitoring everything, which is when Riz made his first OPSEC mistake by connecting to it using the exact same IP address that was involved in a ransomware attack just a few months earlier, an attack that ended up causing $50 million worth of damage. But as well as selling malware, Riz was an initial access broker, a class of cybercriminal who does the hard work of actually hacking into companies before selling access to other cybercriminals who do the dirty work of figuring out how to leverage that access to make a profit. When the Feds came across a forum post where he was selling access to 50 different companies, they bought the lot for an undisclosed amount of crypto. By this point, Riz had built up enough of a reputation to be publicly labelled as a credible threat actor by multiple US federal agencies. But a certain OPSEC mistake he made years ago was just waiting to be discovered.
What did he do?
Whilst the investigation was underway, a totally separate investigation meant that the Feds gained access to a database belonging to a certain cybercriminal forum. We don't know which one, but there are several possibilities. The database revealed that someone created an account in 2018 under the username Riz. But this silly goose created that account using a Gmail address.
Oh, no!
His real name.
Oh, rookie man.
Revealing him to be the 40-year-old Jordanian citizen, and apologies in advance for the pronunciation, Faris al-Bashiti. And in 2016...
I hope that is how his name is. Al-Bashiti.
He even applied for a US visa using this
email
address, which is probably where they got his mugshot from. Faris al-Bashiti was found living in Georgia, the country, not the state, but the Feds didn't have much trouble extraditing him, and after pleading guilty, he's now facing up to 10 years in prison and a pretty chonky fine.
Jeez.
As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.
Ha! Rookie move, my dude. Rookie move. I think we talked about that video last. I don't know if we talked about this one. The RSA conference recently happened, and the Feds were none too happy because the absolute boss, that is Jen Easterly, the former head of CISA, who I have the utmost respect for. Like, you gotta look at her pedigree. Her entire, like, CV is, like, amazing. Like, this woman was deserving of being the head of CISA, I'll tell you that. And Trump did not like her, in part, if I recall, because she was saying the elections were not rigged, they were fair, they were secure, and he's like, wah! I don't know how else to put it, but you get the point. Anyway, After she left the CISA, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, she, well, a lot of Fed agencies have been, they pulled out their long-standing participation in the RSAC conference. Why? Well, because she was appointed CEO of RSAC. Like, how you gonna be a little bitch just because this woman took it up? Like, they were apparently, like, from what people were telling me, a lot of the people were already there at RSA, and the employees just stayed in their hotel rooms, basically. Yeah, okay, so it goes into, you know, about 2 weeks ago, that RSAC appointed longtime cybersecurity community leader Jenny Shirley as this new CEO. So this was like 2 weeks before, and then, you know, the feds are over here like, wah! Being big fucking babies. Because, you know, she took her ball and went home because she knew that Trump was going to fire her anyway. And then she's getting her parachute into the RSA. She may as well just, like, walked into that conference room and been like, wait.
First off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim.
But yeah. But yeah, so this is like, this was a total temper tantrum. Like, I have to say this, and I'm saying this objectively. There's no politics involved here. The Trump administration is filled with incompetent, little temper tantrum having babies. Like, it is really that way. I am speaking objectively. And anyone that will say, no, you're being political about it, you can go look into my history of content and see me rip on Democrats, rip on Republicans, because they all suck in different ways. Now, I will say that, you know, maybe the Trump side sucks a little bit more, but they all suck. Anyway. So that was the big baby move they had. Big fucking babies. Okay. What is this? What is this? Okay. A Japanese AI boom. Alright, let's see what this video is about. From Asianometry.
There has been so much attention paid to the AI boom in the United States and China.
That's a good view.
Japan has sort of been ignored.
Sup,
Should
Parrot?
it be? Japan has, in recent years, launched a leading-edge AI lab, a leading-edge semiconductor
What are some
foundry.
of the best security conferences for students? There's B-sides all across the world. There's a website that I actually recommend a lot of people go to check out a lot of the conferences near them, because some of the best conferences, I mean, yeah, you're going to hear about like DEF CON and stuff like that, but a lot of the conferences that are great may be local to you. So you can actually go to like an events map. This is infosecmap.com. And you can actually zone in on different areas. So like, I'm just going to like, there you go. Like New Orleans, okay? I'm just picking a random area. We can find there's a few conferences here. 2600 New Orleans meetings. Look at that. B-Sides New Orleans is happening over there. NOLACon. SANS Security Central. So go to infosecmap.com. You can find a lot of great conferences local to you. Yeah, I mean, the big one, of course, is DEF CON. That's like the big one everyone talks to in the USA. And then over in Europe, you have the Chaos Communication Conference, which happens over in Germany. But there's events all over. B-Sides is in many different cities. And that's where you can see a lot of people have great presentations. They're usually not that expensive. Like, the B-sides local to me is $25. The B-sides in Vegas, which is the largest one and several days long, is only about $100. And DEF CON itself is not that expensive. DEF CON is, I mean, it is expensive for the hotel and everything, but considering the ticket price and everything, it's not that expensive. All right, continue.
And several integrator startups. Over the past week, I've had another set of conversations with various companies and people in Tokyo. Mostly,
Free Wi-Fi is available in this booth.
I explored the
Sorry.
question, how is the AI boom going in Japan?
That
I
is a good
recognize
question,
that
because,
talking
like,
to a few people does not
Japan's
a country
been, like-
profile make. But in today's video, a small vibe check on the Japanese AI boom.
so this has really been actually kind of an interesting question I've had for a while, because Japan's always had this interesting microcosm of their own technology. Like, there's things that happen in Japan that just don't happen in the rest of the world. Like, I remember for the longest time, Japanese phones were all known to be waterproof because a lot of people actually bathe with their phones. Like, no joke, it was actually a thing. Like, the feature phones. And the feature phones, the flip phones they had, were way more sophisticated than we had. There was, like, a whole, like the whole idea of emojis came from Japan, if I remember correctly. It'd be nice to see Japan have a resurgence in the technology boom. Because they used to, like, be the place. And they
We
say
can
the
split up
iPad
AI
kids are bad.
progress in Japan into two categories, deployment and development. Let us start with deployment for Japanese consumers. Is generative AI being used? I can certainly say that the AI buzzword marketing is prolific. Much like in the United States, it's been leaking into everything. Everything is AI now, often with ample side helpings of ICT. They run these video adverts in taxis. One,
You know what it reminds me of? So, like, hold on. There was this thing. So, y'all have seen that Razer product where at CES they had the little waifu thing in there? Gatebox AI. Let me see if I can find this thing. Oh, they have a new Gatebox. Okay. Gatebox 3. This is the thing I was talking about. So they actually had the whole idea of the anime waifu, like, assistant long before. So let me see if I can find the original one, and then we'll take a look at that later. Because I want you to get an idea. Go to YouTube. Like, this is how ahead Japan was. Now, I remember I had a buddy here that wanted to buy it if it came in English. But it was like $3,000, I think, at the time. This was 9 years ago. Oh my god. Okay. But this was... This is like... You have to understand, this is how far ahead Japan was. This is 9 years ago. This is supposed to be like some kind of assistant they had.
おはよう。
おはよ
あ、今日雨が降るかもしれないから傘持って行って。急がないと遅刻しちゃうよ。
Like, this is basically the same thing that Razer did with that anime waifu thing.
う。行ってきます。
行ってらっしゃい。気をつけてね。
It was designed, so like, you have to understand the concept around this. I know I'm pausing a lot. So, Japanese salarymen, there is a problem with the Japanese salarymen where they're like overworking and they don't have much of a social life. And there's a problem of loneliness apparently in Japan. And this was made to combat that. So they basically have somebody at home with them. Yeah. Then they close down and the guy that married Miku is patiently waiting for it to come back. Like, look, he's texting it. And then it turns on and connects to all your appliances and everything to make you feel like somebody's home when you're coming there. Oh, and there's the umbrella that, you know, she said to, like, carry. Like, I remember watching this and being like, this is really sad if this is what the future holds. I think this was like $3,000 if I remember.
おかえりなさい。
なんかさ、家で誰かが待ってるっていいもんだな。
That's like so weird to think about. This was genuinely way ahead of its time. I will say that. In the worst way.
おやすみ。
おやすみなさい。
But yeah, so that is what's going on with that. I'm gonna have to pull up the Gatebox 3.
It is an intriguing but inscrutable series.
Oh, yeah,
featuring a
Japan's
very attractive
on a whole
actress
different level.
interviewing a rabbit puppet. Maybe I should adopt that format. There are also several.
Maybe I should adopt that format and just like be interviewing a puppet penguin. Do you want to talk to me?
Commercials blaring out the importance of AI. One is run by this organization called GUGA, which stands for Association to Generalize Utilization of Generative AI. It apparently administers tests for a generative AI passport.
Okay, I had to see this. There's the Gatebox 3. This apparently was announced a little while ago. It's like 40 seconds. Okay. What is
ゲー
this?
トボックスシステム起動します。
Oh, so you got a mermaid waifu. A fish. Weird. This is just so weird that this is the world we're living in now. We talked about making you a penguin VTuber model. Very true. I still want to do that eventually. Let me pay down some bills.
ゲートボックス3。
So what happened to Gatebox 2? Oh, so they're crowdfunding in April. I'm sending that to Darko because I know he's going to want it. So hold up.
A certification for avoiding generative AI risks. I cannot attest to its effectiveness. I do think that ordinary consumers are using generative AI tools. ChatGPT-ified Ghibli-style images can be seen on social media here. LLMs
Those are
are
VR
used
chat
for
characters?
translation
Okay.
regularly.
Just get a penguin in that
Corporate
box.
reports mention that some percentage of companies use AI to generate images
I know somebody in my community one day is going to make like some penguin waifu thing just to taunt me.
for marketing, saving time. And it does seem like programmers in Japan, like their peers in the United States, are rapidly adopting coding AI tools like Claude Code. I expect that adoption to continue.
I mean, Claude works
The
pretty
extent
well.
to which they are being used, however, I need to spend more time on in a future visit. Anecdotally, my impression is that Japanese programmers are more limited in how much Claude Code they can use. Something that I cannot help but notice, however, is that all of these generative AI tools are foreign-made, which makes me ask, where are the popular domestic AI models? Let's get back to that one later. The
They
state
apparently
of
don't have enough
deployment
Hakane
of
Mitsuku
AI
or
and
whatever her
generative
name is.
AI in particular remains a mixed bag. In certain domains, AI remains underutilized. In fact, general information technology and processing remains underutilized.
By the fact that you have books on ChatGPT, I want to emphasize books on ChatGPT. Yeah, they're not using a lot of AI. I'm not hating it. I think it's great that they still have the concept of like books and everything a lot more heavily out there than we do here. I mean, for fuck's sake, you can't even get a lot of these kids into a library these days.
I visited an HR outsourcing company here, and not a small one. And a
So
big
when is
topic
Chief's
was how
Penguin
competitors
VTuber?
struggle to automate internal
When I
processes.
pay down some bills
all
and I
people
can
work.
justify putting that into the
For
LLC and pay
instance,
for it.
there is a significant
So give me a
tax
few months
form
after this new
that
job.
Japanese have to fill out and file with the government. And they told me how they were the only ones
I'm
to have
still paying
automated
off
the
this
form with an
GPU.
online wizard, which feels like something that should have been done 20 years ago. I know it's unfair to pick on tax stuff, but yeah. I asked them if they use AI to automate their internal work processes, and they told me about how they trained a small classifier to categorize the tens of thousands of emails they receive from various clients each month.
That's not
This
that
is
much.
part of the challenge of discussing AI in corporate Japan. In the workforce, AI still often means this sort of small AI, basic classifiers and image recognition models.
In some way, I like that.
I was asking about generative AI, like ChatGPT, and was told that that stuff was not even close to being on their radar. In their eyes,
Interesting.
the human should always be in charge.
Okay, I like that
last part.
perspective.
I suspect that bringing generative AI to all of Japan's corporates might take a generation. A few forward-thinking companies are pushing employees to use AI in a top-down manner, but the smaller businesses still lag far behind. The second part of the equation is AI development, and in this I worry that Japanese firms are making the same mistakes in AI that they made in software some generations ago. Today, there is an armada of system integrator businesses
don't
that
turn it
deploy
into
AI
mercy.
into corporate
Well, don't you
and
threaten me with a
government
good time.
workplaces. I was shown a case study of how a large power company worked with an AI system integrator to train a model to replicate the button presses of a human operator at a particular power plant. The model works very well, and human labor was saved. This is a good business for these system integrators. Some of Japan's most valuable startups are actively pursuing these consulting gigs. And I do not blame them for taking these jobs. Money is money. And isn't forward deployment system integration what Palantir is doing? I'm just joking, guys. Don't come after me. But these are small
I was going to say, because fuck Palantir!
AI models.
Also, you notice how another evil company is in the background, ServiceNow? You mean Service Never or Service Eventually? I do not like ServiceNow.
Like the email classifier I mentioned earlier. I am reminded of how Japanese software companies heavily niched themselves down with extremely custom software solutions. I discussed this in a prior video. With this excessive customization, software companies cultivated Galapagos syndrome, making software that fell behind global standards and got increasingly more expensive to maintain.
Interesting. Did
My
not know
biggest
that
worry
aspect
is
of
that
it.
the big LLMs, or the agent layers wielding them, eventually enable competitors to vastly outperform these little AI models. I lean to big general solutions, not these small niche ones. Another thing is revenue. Richard Katz, who writes a Substack that I like called Japan Economy Watch, points out that Japanese companies tend to look at information technologies as more a way to cut costs and improve productivity. This is in contrast with executives at American companies, which seem to see IC technologies as opportunities to generate more revenue. I don't know if a system integrator
really
can
thought
help
about that.
clients with that. I would like to see more Japanese companies trying to use AI to grow the pie. In this, I feel like Japan might be well suited
If
for
it makes
the AI
sense.
materials and drug discovery spaces.
Maybe.
Big Japanese companies already have their own systems to discover new items and probably also have a wealth of data lying around. There are AI materials discovery startups all over the world, but in Japan, a few that have caught my eye are Matlantis and MI6. Someone in the semiconductor space also told me
They
about
really called it
Eichstell, which
MI6?
spun out of Nagoya University.
What is their agent called?
I tried to
James
reach out to
Bond?
them, but got a nada. Guys, read my message. Sakana AI's AI scientists might also have some potential here, though I've not heard much about its achievements. Hopefully that changes soon. One of the key ingredients to creating new AI models is compute. Japan is building a few AI data centers, but nothing like what the US and China are doing. Reuters last month reported a data center cluster.
To be fair, Japan doesn't really have all that much land. I mean, they have land, but they don't... It's at a premium to have data centers out in Japan.
In Toyama with future capacity in total of 3.1 gigawatts, which doesn't feel big compared to Stargate's 10 gigawatts. They might be restricted by the power supply situation, though with Japan,
1.21 gigawatts.
Easy fix. About half of Japan's nuclear power plants are currently idle because of Fukushima. Turning them back on, which I know can be quite difficult, can help. And then there are the chips and systems. For that, I think Japan's hardware strengths can help. Google's TPU chips show the potential benefits of not needing to pay the NVIDIA tax. There's another AI company building their own hardware.
Japan build
Preferred
underground
Networks,
centers?
one of Japan's largest and most
Possibly, but
valuable
they're a little
AI
bit more
startups.
expensive.
Founded in 2014, they started with convolutional neural networks and the like before pivoting into transformers
Not
and
to
now
mention,
LLMs.
you have to make sure they can
In
withstand
2017,
earthquakes because they
they
have that
worked with a
problem.
Kobe University professor to design their own chips, the MN Core series, the first and second of which came out surprisingly quickly. After ChatGPT, they began working on a new line of 3D stacked processors focusing on LLM inference, the MN Core L1000. These L1000s will be ready by 2027. I reckon that they will build a few data centers with these guys, and while it seems like this hardware will mostly run their own models, they said they will make it possible to run other companies' models too. And I think that's an intriguing twist because it opens the door for them to run inference on various closed and open source models.
That is an interesting little card over there.
And that can be a legitimate business. How big? That's dependent on many other things, of course, but it's intriguing. Another of Japan's big issues when it comes to AI development has been talents. While there are indications that Japanese, on the whole, are not as digitally savvy as their East Asian peers, it does seem like Japanese have the raw skills. Their high school students' math, science, and problem-solving scores rank quite high.
Way higher than
and the
the
top
USA.
tier of Japanese talent should be able to hold their own on the world stage. Japan is certainly capable of producing people who can do groundbreaking AI work. I was surprised to learn that the popular AI framework PyTorch drew strong inspiration from the ideas of an older Japanese framework called Chainer. Chainer
did not
was
know
developed by
that.
the aforementioned Preferred Networks. Someone also pointed out to me the Japanese seem to perform well in Kaggle, the data science and machine learning community. Kaggle's skills and success do not quite map one-to-one to AI algorithm research capability, but I would say it is indicative.
Kaggle.
That said, it is true that Japanese
Sounds like
are not
Lego.
well represented in the tight community of X-centric AI theorists and researchers, which is interesting because X/Twitter is popular in Japan. I do also think that it is inevitable.
Yeah, microblogging is a huge thing in Japan. Primarily because originally Twitter, used to be a whole, cell phone thing, and, they were big into the mobile phone industry. Love your vids.
And Makarov is now chilling in the lab.
Thank you for the follow.
Inevitably true that the absolute top-tier Japanese AI thinkers/programmers will want to go to the United States, considering how much more they can get paid there. Japanese companies, even the top most highly valued startups like Sakana AI, can never offer the same tier of salaries that the American giants can. But there will always be some who would prefer to live in Japan rather than the United States. I think that can be of benefit.
I'd rather live in
The
Japan.
role of government in Japan has mixed views
I
here.
still want to visit
On
first,
the one
get to know
hand,
the
people
lay of the
seem
land,
to
but yeah.
believe that the Japanese government listens to what the industry is saying and tries to respond. Moreover, the government is a rich source of business. There's some anticipation for the new prime minister's fiscal expansion plans, which signal a lot of government and defense business coming down the pike. Yet at the same time, the government has its own way of doing things, their own priorities, and I can sense that frustrates some in the
I have
Japanese
nothing to show
AI
here.
community.
That's what he said.
I'm sure that one thing that the government probably hears a lot from industry is that private companies lack the resources to train big LLMs and make new products with them. The government has been willing to help with the former. They're putting efforts into a few programs to promote generative AI, a prominent one being the GENIAC project, which stands for Generative AI Accelerator Challenge. It is a program by METI where the government shares some of the cost of training an LLM, and that has allowed companies like Rakuten to train new models. Korea is running a variant of this game too, eliminating entrants every 6 months. Bloomberg and
Interesting.
a few other netizens are calling it the AI Squid Game.
Oh, God.
Games and programs like this are a way to demonstrate fairness, especially when using taxpayer funds. They want to spread things out across various players.
Makes sense.
So the government is plenty fine with putting public money into R&D and development, not so much into productization and commercialization, which they see as for private venture. But Japanese companies don't always have the margins to fund this, leading thus to iffy products. The Japanese government has been pushing the concept of sovereign AI, so the phrase comes up often in my talks. My understanding of it is that when a Japanese sovereign AI model is trained, it is trained with Japanese data controlled by Japanese entities. In addition, those models are trained and inferenced in data centers within Japan. The idea is that Japan can maintain resilience in its AI infrastructure. I get and do not want to downplay the benefits, especially considering the ongoing rare earths kerfuffle.
Yeah, that's definitely
But there
beneficial.
does seem to be an overfocus on sovereign AI.
Yeah.
It is a variant, not the end goal, and I think Japanese companies should be aiming higher. Once the data is collected and data centers built, you train by essentially running a script. What new competencies or leading-edge knowledge are we building here? Who will use a sovereign AI unless they are mandated to by a regulation or restriction?
I guess that kind
True,
of
I can
explains
see
why they're so
times
far
when the
behind
regulation
right now.
is right. For instance, Preferred Networks in December 2025 announced that their Playmo translate model is being adopted by the Japanese government for translating administrative documents. You would probably want a sovereign AI for that. But for many situations,
you probably would.
you want the best. And if your companies are to be globally competitive, and Japan's top companies are indeed that, then they need to use the best. And I don't think
They need
the
Gillette.
Japanese sovereign AI
They
will
need the
ever
AI
be
of
the best.
they need the Gillette
If
of
only
AI.
because I doubt there is
The
enough
best
good
demand you can
Japanese
get.
data out there. Like, I can't imagine a modern LLM ever being world class in math or science problems without training data bought from mainland China.
You know, I actually kind of see that
Japan's
too.
semiconductor industry of the 1980s is exhibit A++ of this. One of the major reasons for their decline was that the Japanese company stuck with Japanese tools even as the latter declined. It was ride and die Japan, and they died. The Japanese chip guys have learned their lesson. Rapidus is Japan's semiconductor champion, the new one, and funded with taxpayer dollars. And even so, they went out and bought an ASML lithography machine rather than a Nikon machine because ASML had the best. Sorry to the Nikon folks. They make a great machine. I visited the Nikon museum and had a blast.
I didn't know they had a museum.
Side note, I know I was a bit skeptical about Rapidus, especially at the start. But they got their 2nm fab up in Hokkaido, are feeling out customers, and seem to have a focused strategy. All in just 3 years. That
Wow.
deserves some props. Japan really does know how to do hardware. In a way, Rapidus shines a path forward for Japanese AI. Go straight for the leading edge. Go out and find the best technology you can get your hands on, IBM's in this case, bring it in and start improving.
I was going to say, why is there a picture of IBM there?
It's how Japan kick-started itself in the Meiji Revolution days and thereafter. Why not do the same for AI? Anyway, just my 2 cents. Before we conclude, I want to say that I hope to have more conversations with people in the Japanese AI community in the future. If you are in that community and want to swap thoughts, please contact me. We can talk next time I am in town. So reflecting on this trip, the thing that I think Japan most lacks compared to Silicon Valley is ambition. A recurring topic in my conversations has been Japan's digital deficit, the significant amount of Japanese GDP flowing out of the country to foreign software providers.
Yeah, I'd like to see Japanese electronics on the global scale
This
again.
digital deficit is substantial, measured at about
Besides
$24 billion
Nikon,
in the first half of 2025, and it is still growing. Note that for all of 2023, the deficit was only just $37 billion. It's not clear how they're going to close this gap, unless Japanese companies somehow make software products that can go head-to-head with those of the American tech companies. Most Japanese people considering this notion sort of just think, well then, that is impossible, and sort of give up before they start. Accept the inevitable, right? Meanwhile, in the Valley, there is an immense flush of ambition and entrepreneurial energy kicked off by a variety of things, including ChatGPT's success and growth. They're guys who want to disrupt both ASML and TSMC at the same time. Think about that. It would be silly to ask the Japanese to have the same rah-rah as the Bay, but I think the Japanese AI boom can do with a huff or two of their ambition. SoftBank, Preferred Networks, and Sakana AI shouldn't be the only big Japanese non-government organizations with a spine. All right, everyone, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching.
That was interesting. Okay, so we got a few shorts, a short here and a video, about the Scotty K Fitness. I don't know if you knew about this guy. He's a, exercise influencer that docks some people. Now, the reason why we're talking about this has to do with privacy rights. I like me some drama, but my channel's not about it. But this is in my lane, so we're going to be watching this. This happened a little while ago. I put this video up on the 30th of January. We're still catching up on a backlog of videos.
Big bad tough guy Scotty K Fitness literally decided to dox someone's information to his millions of followers, all because this guy left a comment saying he looks like a gay character from a TV show.
Wait, what? Was that it?
Is that as a content creator, I get a ton of hateful comments, and that's fine. I don't mind. What I hate is receiving homophobic comments like this one.
So hateful comments is okay, but homophobic comments just absolutely draw the line to where he goes insane. Now, the information in this video has been redacted by someone, but I just want to show you how much information this dude released.
Something else you may not know is that I'm a former bounty hunter. So, shout out to my boy Tomo. Nate, welcome to Real Life Consequences.
Jesus.
Your middle name is... You were born in September of...
Good God!
The last 4 digits of your phone number are... You're a journeyman...
Thank God his mustache can cover the lips so that people can't lip read it.
...welder at your UA local... You've been there since February...
Jesus!
That's some pretty good money, which probably is how you afforded that 3-bed, 2-bath house off of... right across from the... where your HOA dues
God!
$264 a month. It's pretty pricey. Now, Nate, there's more information.
He released all that about a random commenter because they said he looked like a gay character. This might be the softest fucking dude on the whole internet. Big...
Yeah, that's not cool. Like, I'll get a lot of hate comments myself. I just usually ban them and then move on. You know, you don't need to go through that little thing. That is just so effed up. And then apparently he got dropped by a sponsor and then apologized. Was it Rise dropped him? Rightfully so. This is not appropriate behavior. You know, like, just because you have the capability to do... It's one of those, like, things we talk about often. Just because you can do something, the question should be... the question is, should you do that something? Alright, so Jessica had the video about the, chief... Okay, yeah, this was the, Trump thing that had the CISA chief uploaded a file. We already talked about that. What's this? Okay, I'll have to put that in the backlog because that's like 40 minutes. Don't necessarily want to watch that right now. Nothing against you, Hans. It's just... I'll have to save that for when I do a longer stream. I need to get early on one of these Sunday streams. But I've also been doing my exams and stuff. So maybe this Sunday I'll finally come on earlier. There is possibly a week that I'll be off between when I leave my job, I think on the 20th, and when I start the beginning of March. So I was thinking I may be doing a lot more streaming then. We'll put this in the backlog for that. But here, let me actually, you know what? I'm gonna hold on. I'm going to put this into a playlist. I should start really doing that moving forward. Save it. New playlist. Stream. Backlog. Long videos. Okay, that's backlogged for later. So what's this? The world's first internet music...
This is the world's first internal music player.
Do not tell me that is a butt plug speaker. Because I swear to God, that's what it looks like for me. Like an internal speaker. Yeah, I can hear the music in my ass. Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you think it is. If you've ever wanted to really feel your music, well, now you can. This is the Groove thing, and we got a chance to test it out here at NAMM. Not fully test it out, but we got to see what it feels like. And the way it works is that it vibrates along with the music that you're listening to. Basically like a subwoofer that really vibrates. Yeah.
For when you really want to be anal about your music.
That's all I got. This is...
Although, on the other hand, I could have some fun with that with some partners. But this is not that kind of content. I don't even have a OnlyFans, and if I did have an OnlyFans, it would literally only have fans from Noxua blowing. Bone conduction? Yeah, bone conduction. Okay, what's this? The universal processor. Okay, I'm going to take a quick bio break because I need to use the bathroom, and then we'll watch this video over here. So, give me like 2 minutes. I know some people that would use that speaker. I know some people that would want to use that speaker. I would want to buy that for some playtime with a few people. Chief likes to get his freak on. Anyway, the Universal Processor, new architecture, new me. It's Tachyon Prodigy 2025 Gen 3. So what is this?
What's your minimum specification? If you watch the podcast I do with George, you'll know that there's one topic that really gets him riled up. It's a company called Tachyon. They've been promising an AI accelerator now for almost 7 years. It's crazy. If you've not been following the story,
they've been promising it longer than the hype of AI.
He co-founded Sandforce, the SSD controllers back in the day when SSDs were brand new. Very successful CEO, and he decided to do a startup called Tachyon, whose goal was to produce an AI-based processor that was both CPU and AI and was going to blow anything out of the water. That company came to the fore with a big Hot Chips presentation, I guess like 21, 22. And everybody kind of went, what? Because it was lots of cores. The cores were quite small and underpowered, and he was promising HBM, DDR, lots of connectivity, and whatever NVIDIA were going to produce, they were going to do it a lot better.
Okay.
Then came some of the issues. Aside from the criticism, the company went dark. And then we found out through court filings that they were in the process of suing the EDA company Cadence. The reason for the suing was essentially the company felt that they were having trouble bringing up their chip, getting the timing circuits closed and stuff, because they felt that Cadence were actively hampering their design.
I want to hear this.
The CEO of Cadence at the time, Lip Vuitton, is also the chairman of an AI hardware startup that would have been Tachyon's competition.
Oh.
This went through the courts for, almost a couple of years. And on the back of this, Tachyon was saying, well, hey, we weren't allowed to bid for European supercomputing contracts because we can't get our chip out. This apparently settled out of court. Tachyon started using Synopsys tools. They updated the architecture. There's a great video I did with George and Chester from Chips and Cheese on that, where we went through the new architecture. And the new architecture sounded a lot more reasonable, which is fair enough.
Okay.
Then, we heard that it was available now in FPGA emulation. There's also the promise of being able to support x86, ARM, and RISC-V, all on top of a custom instruction set.
Hold up, what?
Then, again, the company went blank. And to be honest, we kept seeing them at shows, but there were two salespeople and a book about the importance of compute that was about that thick. And we never really got to hear much from the company aside from the silicon wasn't ready. Now, at that time, they were a Series B startup, essentially, raised about $70 million, but didn't have a chip out yet. A few weeks ago, as this is being filmed in November 25, it was announced that they had raised another sort of 220, 250 million to reach a 300 number. And the goal with that, they said, was to finally get to a point where they were taping out their silicon for partners. And it was also declared that the investor who had done that investment was also on the hook for about $500 million in terms of hardware sales. Again, and we're all thinking, well, hang on, it's been a while now. Your design might not be competitive anymore. As of a few days ago, or maybe even it was yesterday, the company announced that they've updated the architecture. So we're going to actually have a lot more insights into what the architecture is about. So in order to do that, let me bring in George.
What am I doing here in San Diego? Anyway, hello you fine internet folks. So, as he introduced, we've had multiple versions of the Tachyon architecture. Back in 2018, Tachyon first announced their first revision of the Prodigy architecture, which was VLIW, or Very Long Instruction Word. This was similar to Itanium back in the day, if you remember that.
Oh, Itanium was really cool.
Circa 2021, 2020.
Itanium was actually really cool. I never got to actually get my hands on it, but it was a clean 64-bit architecture. The problem with it was there wasn't a lot built on Itanium. It was solid as it was, but yeah, there just was not a lot out there. Intel actually was pretty innovative with that, and I wish there was more that happened with Itanium, similar to like OpenSpark and other things, but it is what it is.
They changed what their architecture was going to be. They moved to a much more standard out-of-order architecture, similar to AMD, Intel, Qualcomm, ARM. As of yesterday of the filming of this video, they have since updated that architecture yet again. The new
How many times are they going to update this before they release
is
it?
an 8-wide machine that is designed for a 2-nanometer process. We don't know who's...
Hold on, let's see those specs. 1024 64-bit cores in a single socket up to 6 gigahertz. Interesting. Powerful matrix and vector processors tailored for high-performance AI and HPC workloads. Buzzword, buzzword. Out of order, 8 instructions per clock. Nice. Virtualization and advanced RAS. Fully coherent caches. 128 kilobit iCache, 64 kilobyte Dcache, both with ECC. 1 gigabyte of L2 and L3 with dected ECC. That's a good amount of cache. Damn. Multiprocessor scalability supports up to 16 socket systems. So you can have 16 of these 1024 core systems. 24 DDR5 up to DDR5 17600. Maximum 48 terabytes per socket. Damn. Integrated high-speed I/O, 128 lanes of PCI Express 7.0? Didn't we just get like PCI Express 5.0? I didn't even know there was a 6.0, let alone a 7.0. 64 PCIe controllers, high-performance matrix and vector processing for AI and ML, and HPC, 400... Okay, we got petaflops. Runs binaries for x86 ARM and RISC-V, in addition to native ISA. Interesting.
Is designed for a 2-nanometer process. We don't know whose to, but the suspicion is TSMC.
I say
TSMC from the 2021, 2022 designs, 5-nanometer and 3-nanometer up to 2-nanometer. With that, they've now moved into the chiplet era, with each chiplet having...
It's amazing how everyone's going to chiplets.
And a package able to support up to 4 of those chiplets for a total of 1024 cores.
So you got 4 chiplets there, all tied together. That's some serious parallel processing.
Per package. At a claimed 6 gigahertz.
Oh, they have scales. So they have scales all the way down to 32, and then iterating, so basically 32, then double, then you add another 32 on that. So what is it, like 1 chiplet, 2 chiplet, 3 chiplet, 4 chiplet, and then over here, it's just like, there's no like doubling or math to this. It's kind of weird, interesting numbers, but okay.
At a claimed 6 gigahertz. We'll get into that, but first, let's talk about the actual core architecture here. So, to sort of bullet point this, their L1 and
Linux, there's a lot out there.
Data
use libvirt and what is it? You have to use a ISO when you boot up. I forget what it is, but there's you're gonna have to look up for libvirt using Windows, because there's something you have to install when you start the machine to get it working right. I had to do it, but I haven't done a Windows VM on this machine in a while. Eventually I'll install it, but I just haven't needed to.
And instruction caches, while big, have very low associativity, only 2-way. If you remember the move that AMD did from Zen 1 to Zen 2, they went from a 64K 4-way associative L1I to a 32K 8-way L1I. AMD claimed that even though the capacity reduced due to the
IO ISO drivers, that's what it was.
They didn't actually see any hit rate drop. However, Tachyon L1I is 128K, but only 2-way associative.
Interesting.
Similarly, their data cache is 64K, but only 2-way associative. So that seems like a very strange choice to me. They're claiming that they can do up to 8 branches per cycle, which I find doubtful, especially considering moving down. And speaking of, they only have 6 ALUs, of which 2 of those are branch units. So I find this claim doubtful personally. Moving to sort of the more math side, the floating point and vector units. They have 5 12-bit vector units.
What the hell's going on with the graphic here that it's kind of like moving
But
and jiggling like
each
that?
of those pipes has effectively a 2048-bit matrix unit attached. However, not all of the matrix units can do all the data types. For example, only 3 of the 4 matrix pipes can do FP8, while all 4 can do FP4 along with Tachyon proprietary TAI.
I remember I had 2 on my
types. Moving to sort of out of the core and into the mesh and L2/L3, they have a 1 meg L2. However, again, low associativity of only 4-way in comparison to, say, 16-way on Zen 5 for the same 1 meg L2. But also, their L2 and L3 solution is very similar to IBM's Telum. There is a good article from Chester on Chips and Cheese about how that works, but essentially there's a shared L. The L2 can also act as the L3, as your TLDR. And the mesh is now at core clock instead of half of core clock, and each stop is 64 bytes per cycle, which means that you get approximately 5 terabytes per second on this mesh that they're claiming can clock up to 6 gigahertz. Now, this sounds like a lot until you realize that this package will have up to 24 channels of DDR5.
I was curious what they meant by 24. I was like, okay, you have 24. They didn't say 24 channels. 24 channels of this shit. Man, we're building systems with maybe only dual channels over on our desktops. That's a lot of memory bandwidth.
17600, so that's 17600, which is approximately 3.4 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. And with what Tachyon is calling memory amplification, they're claiming that they can get double that with approximately
it's definitely designed for data centers.
7 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. If you notice, 5 terabytes is not 6.7 terabytes. So I really don't think that even if that bandwidth amplification works, you'll actually see a lot of benefit out of it. Not to mention that that mesh also has to deal with the claimed 100.
I'm seeing a lot of mismatched specs here.
7.0 lanes, which is another, off the top of my head, I believe that is 3 terabytes of bandwidth, I believe. So
that's 4 terabytes.
I don't know how this 5 terabyte mesh is going to be able to deal with that.
Come on, George, move over. Move over. Because I've got some bones to pick here. In this document that they've sent us, and we'll put a link in the video description so you can have a read as well, they've said they can do this all in a, was it a 6144 or 16?
Kid you not, this is a scale and aspect ratio of the packages on the official document we received. Good God! Served by socketed systems with Prodigy's 120 millimeter by 63 millimeter. That's a lot of balls. 6,944 balls. That's some balls.
944 pin package?
No. So it's 23,000
Threadripper extra large. Yeah, this is like making Threadripper look tiny. Oh. Higher memory and more expensive. This market is served by socketed systems with Prodigy's 120 millimeter by 150 millimeter high performance package having 23,009 balls. That's a whole lot of balls. You got some ball there. You got some cojones.
for context, some of the biggest packages I've seen are like 11,000, 12,000. I'll put a picture on of a PG array tester with 11,000 pins at very fine pitch. You've seen that picture?
Yes,
I've got?
if I remember correctly, the package size is 150 by 120.
Which, given the fact that they've said that this chip will be available for customers in Q3 26, would
the
be
AIO could do
the
in my house.
largest
Probably.
TSMC has
You won't need to worry about a furnace in your house. Let that puppy just run. Hook up a 220 circuit to that and let it cook.
ever made.
I actually don't think that is even on their roadmap for 26. Granted, they could ship the smaller version.
True, yeah. Yeah, the one chiplet version.
Yeah.
The one chiplet.
It's for a company saying, hey, look, we're going to be on 2 nanometer in Q3 26. Bear in mind, whose 2 nanometer will be available? TSMC, but only for premium customers.
Yep, basically AMD and Apple. And
Intel for internal only.
Yeah.
Samsung, what?
That's all you got.
Does Global Foundries have a 2 nanometer we don't know about?
Well, Rapidus.
Do you honestly think?
No.
We just talked about Rapidus in the last video.
28, 29, maybe, but not 26.
Somebody would have
Rapidus isn't so rapid.
Charmed the pants off an executive
Yeah.
to have the first one. Or they're willing to be such an early customer. They're willing for 10% yield.
Yeah.
No, that's 10%. Okay, so even with defects, even if it's like a 50% yield, the parametric based on what can hit 6 gigahertz.
Yeah. No.
2%.
You're
NVIDIA
being
for
generous.
anyone? Yeah.
But you didn't even let me hit the best part. The 1600 watt TDP. Which
Jesus!
sounds like a lot, right? 1600 watts. But that's across 1,000 cores. So you have all of 1.6 watts per core trying to clock to 6 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems sketchy to
You
me.
could have the sensor hub running at 6 gigahertz, maybe. There are too many Okay, even if each one of these chiplets is reticle sized, 858 square mil.
Yep.
With 256 cores inside, and I guess 32 PCIe 7 lanes, 6 channels of DDR5.
It's 8 channels and 96 lanes per chiplet.
Okay, then yeah, that means you only have a million transistors, 10 million transistors per core.
God,
I didn't do the math, but what's even funnier is that they're claiming that they can do up to 16 sockets.
Yeah, not in the biggest one.
No. The biggest one is only up to 8
sockets.
But the slightly reduced version with only 512 cores can do 16 socket.
There's a reason why AMD only goes up to 2 and Intel doesn't make a big fuss about its 8 socket platforms anymore.
Well,
and that's because last time I spoke to a guy who worked for an OEM, he said the only people who buy the 8 socket systems are Russians.
It's SP HATA.
Yeah.
Or SAP HATA, excuse me.
Yeah, DB2 and whatever, so.
Yeah.
Hell, I remember when Intel had the Skull Trail platform for you to put 2 CPUs on it. 2 CPU packages is not really that popular anymore. If you're racking, you might at most find nodes with 4 packages. Back in the day, you may find 8, but nah, like most of the time it's a dual or a quad at most.
We've spoken with the company at length, and they always seem very confident.
Yes.
About their approach, but time and time again, I think we've given them so much of the benefit of the doubt over the years. In saying, okay, even with some of these things, we're not sure will work. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Just show us, when silicon's ready, or even show us.
No, that's dual core, so that's dual core Pentium D. We're talking about 2 physical CPU sockets. So imagine I have my 5950X here, and then I have another 5950X with its own memory attached to it. That's what we're talking about. Not multiple cores, but multiple CPU packages. So, when I was growing up, when we referred to a CPU, we referred to each CPU. So, like, when you had a dual core system, it was really a dual proc or dual CPU system. So you'd have like 2 Xeon processors running together with their own memory tied into them. Nowadays, you don't really see that as much. At least in consumer side. Back in the day, we used to have, like, was it Intel Skull Trail that let you put in multiple Intel CPUs too. You could get like 2 high-end Intels. I can actually pull up a image over here about this Intel Skull Trail. I just remembered about the Zalman coolers. So you had an EATX motherboard, and then you had 2 separate CPUs here. Those Zalman coolers, they were the beasts before Noctua was like the king of air cooling. But you used to have this board over here, and then you'd have 2 separate CPUs. Like, look how old this is. There's a FireWire socket in there. There's eSATA. There's SPDIF. USB 2.0. But yeah, you used to have 2 CPU sockets. See? Right there. And then each of these memory, one of these memory banks would go to, you'd have to have 2 because one would be tied into each CPU. And then that's how you scaled it like that. Hey, Ari. What's up, buddy? What's up? What's up? Oh! My dogs are attacking me! That's a good boy. You good boy? Ow. I need to get your nails done. Good boys. Good boys. But yeah, so this is when we're talking about dual CPUs, what we meant back in the day.
The FPGA demo systems you've claimed to have had for the last 5 years.
I'm not even going to be asking for that because they're going to be at supercomputing. I'm going to ask for the ISA manual. I want to see what they've done for their ISA.
No, that's proprietary information, and you have to sign a corporate NDA.
No. They said that they're going to open it.
Yeah. Open. Yeah, maybe that definition of open. I mean, yeah, it's, I'm always happy to be proved wrong.
Yes.
But in this case, it's so many iterations. And okay, it's great that they've got a bunch of money. It's funny because we said in the press release,
show me the money. We need a product.
Investor, but then in the next paragraph it says it's an American investor. So, who is it? Yeah. Show. It's the same argument I'm putting to other companies who are this old.
Yeah. Show not tell.
Show me the silicon first, and then show me it's running, and then show me it's running well.
Yeah.
So some companies, aren't ready to show anything until stage 3, and we get that. But if you're,
we need to see something, a proof of concept.
21 times the performance of NVL 576 from
Vera Rubin.
Yeah, the Vera plus Rubin Ultra even. And you've been saying this for years, like.
Yeah. But they've got money now, so they could go on for another 10.
Yeah. Doing what?
I don't know. I think the question we have to ask is, do we ever make any more videos on this? Let us know in the comments. And apparently YouTube has like a new hype feature, and hype features are really good at promoting videos.
Oh, is that a hype feature?
But if you like to hear more about what George says, obviously Chips and Cheese, but also check out the Tech Routine that we're probably going to do one next week as we're doing this, because we're at Supercomputing. If you're at Supercomputing, say hi. Say hi, George.
Hello.
I'll probably watch their stuff a little bit more, but let's see. We got IKEA is competing with Apple. Okay. Interesting. Looks like it's about their charging bricks.
Why does Apple charge more than 5 times the price for their USB chargers?
Because it's the Apple tax. End of video. Okay. See you next time. No, kids.
Do they really have some special applesauce that's worth the premium? Well,
No.
IKEA just entered the chat and blew them out of the water. We went out and bought all of their chargers and actually tested them, so you don't have to. And to be honest, there's more reasons to buy the ones from IKEA than the ones from Apple.
Let's first take a look at the charger situation for Apple devices. You get a charging brick and a cable included with devices like a MacBook and an iPad. But for all other devices, the charging brick is gone, people. You'd be...
And it looks like they're talking about the European connectors over here. I forgot what the specific one is, because I know, like, the NEMA standard and something like that. I'm not a fan of these connectors. I lived overseas. I had to use them. I understand why they did them, but the whole, like, plastic connection with the metal tip, and then it could break a lot easier than the metal prongs, just kind of irked me. But I also
still got a cable these days.
safety aspect.
And the reason for that is simple. We just have way too many chargers lying around the house ever since USB-C became the standard. So it makes sense not to include a new one because of e-waste and all.
We understand it, but we don't totally agree with it. Yes, we have a lot of chargers around the house, but they're old chargers, Usually USB-A
ports are annoying if you have a cheaper
and
adapter.
they're also slow. And despite being tech reviewers, we don't actually have that many good USB-C chargers.
Yeah. And you can buy chargers for your iPhone and iPad, etc. from Apple, but damn, are they expensive. It is.
I just got a bunch of my shit from Anker and Ugreen and Pine Power. I'm pretty good.
Apple after all. And there's the element of convenience. It's easy for people to add it along with their online order or just walk into an Apple store and pick one up.
But you can't just buy the cheapest charger from Apple and be done with it, because depending on the device, it will need a faster charger. For example, an iPhone 17 Pro or an iPad Pro can go up to around 40 watts of charging speed, and that charger from Apple will cost you $59.
But suppose you got the cheapest and slowest 20-watt charger, which is the one you need if you have
like
an iPhone Air,
2025.
because they really nuked the whole battery situation on that phone. That charger costs $19.
This is where IKEA enters the chat.
All right, in IKEA, and I found all the chargers and battery sections, so let's go pick out the ones that we need.
Huh, those are cheap. Is that Euro? Yeah, that's Euro.
Guess what? IKEA just released insanely affordable USB-C chargers. It's from their SJOS series. Not sure how you pronounce that. Maybe
It's what the Dutch person would say, but
yeah, this is what.
Whiz.
Okay, that's how you pronounce
that's
that.
Swedish.
But wow, we'll come to the tests in
How do you
to see
pronounce
if they
that?
actually match what they advertise, but
Let's walk through a couple of examples. Suppose you dare to buy the iPhone Air, like me. Like we said, that one needs a 20-watt charger. Apple's charger, the one we have here, the 20-watt, costs $19. IKEA, it is priced at $4. $4. You can't even get a cup of coffee for that money. Take a look here. We tested these and it actually delivers the promised wattage.
Okay. I'm not discounting it at all, because there is the Apple tax, but did they crack it open? Did they see the internals, the quality, all this? These things matter. I mean, yeah, it's power delivery, but yeah. Again, this is from a guy that doesn't have any Apple official chargers. I have a
suppose you
couple,
have an
actually,
iPhone
but yeah.
17 Pro or an iPad. You just need to spend about $8 for a 30-watt charger, and that will give you decent charging speeds. At the Apple Store, that's $39, please. That's almost how much we spent to buy all the chargers from IKEA that are on this table.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Apple, is it? Is there still really a reason to get Apple's version instead of IKEA?
Yeah, for rich snobs to make it look like they're, better than you. When really, we're just all laughing at you because you just spent a bunch of money on bullshit. I'm sorry, but a lot of times when I see people using Apple products, as an iPhone user, I just kind of look at people and I'm like, you fell for the marketing. I get it.
Kias. Before we answer that, let's look at a few more examples.
So if you have a MacBook Air or you want to charge two devices at the same time, you'll likely be looking at the 35-watt dual port version from Apple, like this one we got with the MacBook Air. Now, $59 for this fruity version. And what does IKEA do? You guessed it. They charge you less than half at $25. But wait, there's more. The IKEA version is actually 10 watt faster at 45 watts. Again, we verified this. Check these results out. IKEA.
I wouldn't say 10 watts
Yeah.
faster, but 10 watts more. It's more powerful, but not faster. It may charge faster, but it's just more power being fed in. It's one of those stupid nuanced things.
And for that dual port version, right, it is 45 watts, but if you use both the ports, it's 22 watts and 22 watts on each of the ports. And lastly, if you need a beast of a charger because you have the MacBook Pro, then the 70-watt charger from Apple at $59 is going to pop up on your radar. IKEA will charge you less than half again at $25 for their 65-watt brick. We will give it to Apple here for using GaN technology in this charger. And if you don't know what that is, it helps keep the charger smaller and lighter and also more efficient in terms of heat management.
So the question here is, do the Apple chargers make sense, right? You might be hoping that Apple
they never
has
have.
special tech in
I've
their
never
chargers that
recommended
justify
people
those
buy Apple
prices.
chargers.
Unfortunately, there isn't much. Yes, in terms of aesthetics, they might look and feel nicer and match the rest of your Apple design elements. Maybe you prefer one of these over the IKEA for the shape of the charger. And some of the higher power chargers, like we said, like this 140-watt one we have here, they do have GaN technology, which helps reduce the weight and the size and improves the efficiency as well.
After doing quite a bit of searching, the only real advantage Apple chargers might have is a longer lifespan of about 10 years due to their higher quality components. But the key word here is higher. IKEA's chargers should easily last more than 5 years, and who knows which USB standard we will be using then.
And are IKEA chargers
That's the other
better?
problem.
Well, are IKEA chargers just cheap knockoffs or poorly made products? Before we answer that, a big thanks to you guys for watching this video and for our tested tier supporters here on screen, and a special thanks to our Fuckman tier supporters, Brian, Croxland, Razpanda, Paula, and Rachel.
First off,
I thought he said fuck man.
guys, we didn't notice any electrical whine, which cheaper chargers usually suffer from. There have been teardowns from the folks over at Charger Lab, for example, and they've seen that the products are well made with safety and thermal management taken into account. We also strongly
always
doubt a
good.
company as big as IKEA would risk any fiasco here.
Yeah, they're safer, they're cheaper, they're better. Rationally, the IKEA chargers are the better pick. They're all cheaper, much cheaper. There's also a dual port version that gives you more power. But what's interesting is that the furniture company's chargers do have some special sauce, right? And that's PPS. PPS stands for Programmable Power Supply. It basically means that the charger can adjust the voltage and current in tiny steps to accommodate the device being charged. This means that IKEA chargers can run not only cooler, but what if you want to charge a non-Apple device? Well, the Apple charger likely won't fast charge those, whereas the IKEA one...
I didn't know that the Apple
All right,
ones
guys,
suffered
the IKEA
from
ones
that,
are
but
just
yeah.
a safer bet because of their cross compatibility. Oh, and they also come with colored stickers if you're allergic to that Apple white or the
Yay,
IKEA
colored
white for that matter.
stickers!
If you want us to cover charging cables because they matter just as much, then let us know in the comments.
And we also compared a bunch of smart plugs that work with Apple Home. Check out that video here.
And if you want to see our favorite alternatives too.
Okay. I maybe got 1 or 2 more videos in me. Yeah.
This is a
watch
1.44 megabyte
this
floppy
disk is a
disk.
server.
That might not.
Okay. Yeah, 1.44 megabyte floppy. I still use floppies once in a while. To prove that point, I have a floppy disk with USB-C and USB-A, but it's also got USB-C. Bet y'all didn't even know those existed. But okay. Let's see what
It sounds like a lot of storage, but we have ways of stretching this thing out.
Showing off your floppy? Yeah,
Today, we're
my
not
floppy.
only going to install a full bootable Linuxy operating system on this floppy disk, but we're going to install multiple servers and have them serve a web page from the floppy disk. This floppy
Oh
disk
god,
might
this is gonna be
explode,
slow.
so stay tuned. And if you enjoyed tormenting obsolete computer storage, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Now, I got the idea for this ridiculous concept after watching a video from my good friend Bruce of Brankus Creations. He turned a vintage Macintosh into a web server, and I thought, hey, I can do way better than that. And by better, I mean worse. So today we're going to install a bootable, usable
We can do way better. I mean worse.
operating system on this floppy disk, along with a TCP/IP stack, network device drivers, and the web server software itself.
Wait, what?
This sounds daunting and impossible, but truth be told, this actually already exists.
Wait, what?
Everything we need to accomplish this is already baked into a really cool project that I've been a huge fan of for years. It's called Elks. No, not that kind of elk. This is the embedded Linux kernel subset. And if you've ever run into me at an event, you've probably heard me talking about it non-stop. To paraphrase the GitHub README, Elks provides an early fork of Linux for systems based on Intel's 16-bit architecture. That includes systems like the 286, 186, and even back to the 70s with the 8088 and 8086. Providing a real
They still make support
Linuxy
for that?
shell on absolutely ancient systems. But it's not just a proof of concept, it's a real OS
Yeah,
tuned
Ugreen
for
and
embedded
Anker.
applications
Not
with
saying the
networking
IPs are
drivers,
bad, but yeah.
TCP/IP, and a whole bunch of applications baked in. And Elks provides something else pretty special. Let's go over to the GitHub page. So here is the Elks GitHub page, and I'd like to draw your attention specifically to these memory requirements. Stock images require 512K of RAM. Not
Jeez.
gigs, not megabytes, K. Elks itself requires 256K of RAM to operate. And you can even build an Elk system in as little as 128K of RAM. And once you see what
God.
Elks is capable of, that's going to seem almost impossible. So if we go to releases here on the Elks GitHub page, they actually provide floppy disk images even for as little as a 360K floppy disk. In fact, they've got all kinds of images for whatever you're trying to write this to. We, of course, are using a 1.44 megabyte floppy disk, so we're going with the FD1440 FAT image.
It's
And once we
interesting
have
that they got a
downloaded,
Minix
we
version.
can just copy it to a floppy disk using the built-in macOS DD utility, which of course is a GNU utility, which means it's on Linux. Windows users, you'll have to find other arrangements. But here on Mac, I can do disk util list to find my USB floppy disk, which is right here at dev disk 4. Then I can sudo dd input file equals, and I can drag the image file from downloads, output file equals dev disk 4. We'll do a status equals progress so we can see a progress bar. And we'll let that write, and then we should have a working bootable Elks floppy disk. I'm also going to go to the retroweb.com because they have a ton of resources for old motherboards like the one we're working with today, which will be the fastest 486 that I've ever used. Now, even though Elks
Fastest
here is designed for a 16-bit
God.
system, there's nothing stopping us from booting Elks on something more modern. But since we want this to be a web server, our only limitation is network card that Elks actually has a driver for. So our hardware platform is going to be this, a lovely Socket 3 486 board, along with an Etherlink 3 ISA networking card, because Elks has drivers for it baked in. So really, we just need to set up this battle station and boot the floppy. Oh, and I guess design an entire web page that still fits on whatever is left over on this floppy disk. I also just so happen to have a 120 megahertz AMD 486DX4 we can toss in, so you know what that means. We get to play with jumper settings. Hooray!
I remember jumper settings.
Right after this quick word about today's sponsor, Delete Me. Today's internet is a weird place. Everything you do and say online is analyzed, cataloged, chopped up, and sold on the open market of data brokers. And it's not just shady advertisers buying this data. Your private info can wind up in the hands of scammers, fraudsters, phishing schemes, and worse. Oh good, another political text. This is exactly the kind of thing that Delete Me can help to address. I've been using Delete Me for well over a year now, and they help me control my personal information in ways that I was never able to accomplish trying to do it manually. They constantly scour the internet for my info and report back to me exactly which data brokers and websites have it. And then, well, they delete me. There's even a privacy advisor that I can reach out to at any time. Just look at my listings removed over time. That big spike in the beginning where they removed the huge amount of data that was just floating out there on me. And then a consistent removal of all the data that keeps popping back up. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/actionretro and use promo code ActionRetro at checkout. Thanks again, Delete Me, for sponsoring today's video.
Yeah.
Man,
totally
what an
fine.
incredible resource the retroweb.com is, providing all of this stuff cataloged and easy to search. So we are
Vampire, I
going to
took that out because I don't have a affiliate code anymore.
That's all RAM
Apparently I
configuration.
didn't have enough business
We need
with them. I'll reach back out eventually.
CPU type
Get
selection.
that rolling.
So we've got our little map of jumper locations here and appropriate jumper settings. Let's see if we can't set this up real quick.
I forgot all of that, having to do.
And as is
I
tradition,
didn't forget
instead of
about
a
the jumper
case, we're
settings
just going
back then,
to
but
drag
man,
a one
I
this
forgot
thing
what a
directly
pain
on
they
the
were.
desk. Okay, I've got just a video card and keyboard connected. Let's see if the jumpers are set correctly, and this thing will boot at 120 megahertz. All right, there we go. We're at 120 megahertz on this AMD 486DX4. Okay, so all of my 486 boards are giving me a hard time, but I found something even better. It's a Pentium board that has 3 ISA slots, so we can use our supported ISA Ethernet card, just like so. Just gonna stick a little thermal compound on here. As usual, not too much, not too little.
Why did you cover it up?
The exact right amount.
Oh, because everyone's going to criticize
Our
him.
extremely low-spec web server, a Pentium of some description, ISA Ethernet card by 3Com, and the only storage hooked up to this machine is this single floppy drive, into which we will place this single floppy disk containing
CPU. Yeah, they used to be pretty big like that.
Oh, there it goes.
The interesting part is you didn't need a CPU cooler for a lot of them.
Of network configuration. It's so funny how every time I do something, it hits the floppy disk. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do vi boot opts, hitting the floppy disk. All right, now in here, we're just going to change the local IP.
It hurts when I pee.
My network. 86. Let's give this a host name. How about floppy server? Yeah. And now let's go into etc.
I can never navigate VI.
Net.config. My gateway is 192.168.1.1. Netmask is correct. Default link.
So I take it doesn't have DHCP
is
to do a lot of that stuff.
And
Maybe.
down here, we're very interested in this. Daemons to start at startup. Right now, when it connects to the internet, by default, it will start up Telnet and FTP servers. 2 servers running on here. We're going to turn that into 3.
And now that I've figured out how to use VS Code with having it SSH in and then do that, I've been using VS Code remotely. Call me a heathen.
3, because we're going to start HTTP as well. And now I'm just going to do a quick reboot. All right, yeah, it does see the Ethernet card right there with the MAC address. I think we're going to be good to go online. All right, so we can do net show. And yeah, it does have our settings in here, so we can do net start. KTCP is the TCP stack that it uses. And yeah, it worked. Look at that. We are online. We have an IP address, .86, and we've started HTTP, Telnet, and FTP. So I don't think we have ping on here, no, but we do have HTTP get. Let's see if we're online. Frogfind.com / name not found.
You don't have DNS set up.
Frogfind.com. Look at that. We are online off of a single floppy disk. That's ridiculous. All right, so technically we should have a web server running locally at .86. Let's go to the modern computer and try to connect to it. All right, let's see if there is a web server at .86. There is! Look at that! We are connected to a web server running off of a floppy disk. That's freaking wild. All right, let's see if we can telnet into it.
One should not allow telnet.
I should probably give this a password if we're going to connect this to the internet. Something strong and secure. Definitely not just the word action in all lowercase. Yeah, look at that.
I try to avoid telnet and shut it down
to
whenever
host
I
on
can.
here, so I've busted out the old Sony Mavica. Take a few floppy disk pictures of the floppy disk drive. Oh my god, look at this. We are FTP'd into the floppy disk. We're going to upload directly from this floppy disk to this floppy disk.
Over the network.
That's never going to get old. I guess we need to create some kind of a web page too. Okay, I've written a simple web page in basic HTML. No criticisms of my HTML quality, please. We're just going to upload that directly to the floppy disk. Oh my god, it's freaking working. Look at that. It's loading JPEGs from a floppy disk. And I have accidentally put the same picture all 4 times. Why don't we go over to the Elks system itself and fix it with Vi? Okay, and quick jump cut to I have set up a dynamic DNS on no IP for the floppy web server. So it should be
Don't do this at home, kids.
And accessible. So if we go to floppy.ddns.net, it's a server error. That's weird. Let's try it in Chrome. Oh, there it is. It's alive. I don't know why it didn't work in Firefox. Maybe it just needs a minute to propagate. But look at that.
That is some old internet vibes, just slowly loading.
And then I'm going to post it to Hacker News, and we're going to go watch the log live to see people visiting our floppy disk. That's ridiculous. Yeah, check this out. We can watch people try to connect to it live on the screen. Oh boy, it's going. It has lots of complaints, but it is serving. Oh man, it doesn't even want to load the pictures now. That doesn't bode well for connecting to the wider internet. Okay, everything is actually
Waiting
working.
10 minutes for you
Look at
got
that.
mail.
And what I've done is send the URL to the Wayback Machine for a backup because I'm sure this is not going to last very long. Let's post this to Hacker News and watch the floppy drive go crazy as people try to connect to it. Web server on a single floppy disk. All right, well, here we go. Oh yeah, look, we've got customers. I don't like all this right to unknown socket stuff. But yeah, there's real people connecting to the floppy disk. Now, it's not hitting the floppy every time, I guess, because it's caching. Probably a good thing. All right, is this still up? Yeah, website's still up. Still hitting the floppy disk. You know, I don't think it's happy. I don't actually understand what this error means. Sysbreak 7 fail. I think it has something to do with running out of memory, but I don't know why it keeps happening. But when that happens, the whole thing freezes. Yeah, now the page isn't responding at all. Let's restart this. Yeah, now it's back up again. I don't know what keeps crashing, but something is not happy.
Well, I mean, you're running a floppy disk and serving a shit ton of things.
That floppy drive is really floppy driving. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what this sysbreak 7 error means or how to fix it.
ChatGPT for it.
I keep having to restart the server because once I start getting those errors, it stops responding. All right, we're just going to go into boot ops here and edit this so we automatically start networking at boot up. So that is a full web server running on a single floppy disk, and not just the web server, but the OS, the stuff.
So now what you need to do
everything
is put it in RAID
1.44
0 for 2
megabytes.
floppy disks.
I think this kind of experiment is the perfect thing to illustrate how computer bloat has really gotten out of hand. What do we need to spend $800 on 6 terabytes of memory for? I've got everything you need in 1.44 megabytes. But that
$800 for 6 terabytes of memory. $800 doesn't even get you like 32 these days. Good God.
That'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more stuff like this, please subscribe down below, and thank you very much for watching. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much.
That was interesting. I'm getting a little tired. I may stream tomorrow or Thursday. I still got an exam to do. And, for sure I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm gonna go to bed a little bit early tonight, because I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. And then I gotta go pee in a cup for the new job, so I guess I'll, call it here. Thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. Join the Discord and the Matrix server. The links are in the bio if you don't see them right now. And of course, stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch. As always, love you all. Stay safe. And happy hacking. Good night, y'all.